What's up, everybody? We're live. Welcome back to another stream right here on Cassius Morris Official, coming at you guys from Bangkok, Thailand. Never a dull day, never a dull moment. So much to cover tonight, man. Holy shit. I don't even know where to start. I'm thinking we just do top story tonight just to kick things off. Kick it off with the top story. The plot thickens in the Epstein files, and what a time to be alive to be looking at these files. We have a brand new arrest, of course. Peter Mandelson, the former UK ambassador to the United States. We have updates on former Prince Andrew. I keep going to call him Prince Andrew, but we got to make sure he stays disgraced. We got to make sure he remains disgraced. Former Prince Andrew, shocking new updates suggesting that not only was he participating in illicit activities with Jeffrey Epstein, but you guys were paying for it. That's right. New reports suggest that the taxpayers were actually financing former Prince Andrew's bad behavior. We're going to jump into that story. We're going to take a look at what's happening over in Mexico right now, of course, with the cartel killings. So a lot going on in the world at this moment. Like I say, I used to have trouble a couple years ago when I first started streaming, finding a good topic when I was just contained to music and entertainment. And now it looks like we actually have trouble picking which topic to start with. So I guess let's just do the top story, man. Let's hop into it right now. As you guys could see in the headline, in the title, Peter Mandelson, of course, the former UK ambassador to the United States, was arrested by British police on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So a couple things. This arrest is in fact linked to the Epstein case, and there is a separate Epstein-related investigation that's actually happening against Peter Mandelson. So that's the first thing. Second thing is he was arrested and then bailed out shortly after. So he was arrested, but as of the time that this was reported and the time that I started this stream, he has since been bailed out. So we are simply reporting on the arrests that happened before. And the other thing worth noting here is that the charges that he was actually arrested under are the exact same charges that led to the arrest of former Prince Andrew. Suspicion of misconduct in public office. And this is something that is so serious in the United Kingdom. And I find it fascinating that it's taken this seriously, because I figured there was a lot of corrupt things happening in the UK behind the scenes. But nonetheless, they are, whether it's performative or not, which is always an option, they are acting on this not only with Prince Andrew, but also with the former UK ambassador. All their former guys are getting thrown under the bus. I wonder if we'll see any investigations for people who are actually in government now and in the royal family now, but that's a whole other question. So what exactly was the misconduct by Peter Mandelson? Why is this relevant to the Epstein files? And what exactly is the deal behind this? Well, we have some information about Mandelson's links to Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go ahead and roll a couple of clips, take a look at some photos. And if you guys are just joining, make sure to join the chat and let me know what you think. Smash that like button, man. Let's get this algorithm going crazy.
Peter Mandelson features extensively in them, as photos in the files attest. Again, being included in the files is not evidence of any wrongdoing. But Mandelson was often photographed at Epstein's side in multiple occasions over multiple years. Here,
Okay, so he went to the island, or at least his yacht. I mean, looking pretty comfy. Pretty comfy, cozy on the ship with Epstein.
Mandelson is pictured on a yacht with Epstein and others. And here he is celebrating Epstein's 54th.
Oh, not blowing out the cake. See, here's the thing with me and the Epstein files. There's certain photos in the Epstein files, like the infamous photo of Piers Morgan where he's caught with Ghislaine Maxwell. And he has the whole story of, oh, well, I never met Ghislaine. I didn't even know her. We were just at some public party and a photographer snapped a group photo and somebody cropped the photo of us. So it's a photo taken by chance, is most people's excuse when they're seen with him at a party or whatever. When you're at the private table blowing out the candles, it doesn't really get more damning than that. I can understand the cocktail party. There's famous people. There's billionaires. There's people around. There's different circles mixing. I can maybe give you a pass for the cocktail party photo. Blowing out the candles with the pedophile at the solo dinner, I don't think you get a pass on that one.
Fourth birthday. Now, this photo, also part of the files, shows how Mandelson was comfortable around Epstein.
Oh, wow, he's in his underwear? What? What is happening?
was comfortable around Epstein, even when being photographed.
Wow.
Mandelson's association with Epstein was public knowledge, very public knowledge. But the files did shed new light on its nature. First off, its length. This is from 2009. Mandelson wrote to Epstein, "You are the only person who knows everything about me. Don't go away."
Whoa. Okay, so he's going away for a long time. See, what did I say on the last stream a couple days ago? Another one bites the dust because we're going to have to see some of these guys. And what did I say, by the way? We got to go back and play my prediction. We're going to see some of these guys go down and take a lot of the blame, but they're only going to be former people. They're not going to be key people. We saw this coming, but this is damning.
"You are the only person who knows everything about me. Don't go away." To be more precise, the date is May 2009. This is while Epstein was still serving a sentence in Florida for procuring child prostitution.
Wow.
There are casual, jokey intimacies in the documents. This is 2.5 years later. Mandelson writing to Epstein, "You don't care about me anymore." Epstein replying, "Rubbish." Mandelson was happy to discuss politics too. In 2009, Mandelson's assistant emailed Epstein a government speech here before it was delivered. And this email was sent while Mandelson was Secretary of State for the Department of Business, Innovation and Skills. In 2010, as governments were struggling to deal with the financial crisis, there was this exchange. Epstein emails Mandelson, "Sources tell me a 500 billion euro bailout, almost complete." Mandelson says, "Should be announced tonight." Epstein asks, "Are you home?" Mandelson replies, "Just leaving number 10, will call." Again, we don't know what evidence the Met Police may have considered before.
Crazy. So he was another guy that was sending Jeffrey Epstein private government information. We have to remember, not only was Prince Andrew under fire when he was arrested for this same charge just a couple of days ago. Arrested, not formally charged yet, I should add. This is the exact same thing that Prince Andrew was doing as well. Not only was it the massages and spending time at Epstein's Island, it was giving private information about all different countries, all different business dealings, all different things having to do with high-level government. For some reason, former Prince Andrew and this guy Peter Mandelson were sharing this private information with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't want to be a broken record, guys, but I got to bring back my original question. And this is always the question that I end up at whenever we go down this rabbit hole with the information. If Jeffrey Epstein was not a government asset, which for some reason a lot of people still struggle to wrap their minds around or believe, let's say he wasn't a government asset. What is the motivation for all of these people who are tied in with big government, not only to be friends with him, because that can be explained for many reasons. What is the motivation for them to be sending him private government information if he's not tied in with government? If he wasn't relevant to that world or that space, if he was not involved, why would they be sending him private government information? And I don't want to go on the same tangent every stream with this, but nobody can answer my question. That's why I keep asking it. You know, a lot of the discrepancies with the Epstein case and the files, there's certain key questions that keep coming up, and it seems like people get frustrated by these questions. But these questions could easily be put to bed if somebody would just offer a logical answer. How did Epstein make all of his money? Why did he have connections to all of these rich and powerful people? Why was he being given information about things happening at a very high level in government that the average financier or financial person would not have access to? These are some of the recurring questions that we keep asking, and we're met with frustration and people rolling their eyes, and here you go asking the same thing, but we never got an answer. We're here trying to figure out all this stuff in terms of evidence, and I think that's a good thing, by the way. I mean, I think we should get to the bottom of all of this, but we're trying to decipher these files, and we still don't even know who or what we're dealing with. We don't know who Jeffrey Epstein really was. We don't know who he was working for. We don't know how he made all this money. We don't know anything about this guy. So to me, again, we're going to keep going through evidence in this stream and in every stream. We're going to keep trying to break it down and put the dots together. But for me, we can have all the evidence in the world. I still need to know these key details to wrap my mind around it. So that's really where I'm sitting. I don't understand why it's just being accepted that this guy was getting high-level government information and nobody's asking why. Why were they sending him this information? Maybe my chat has the answer. I mean, we're going through the files, guys, as we speak. Let's look at some stuff that was actually in the files. So we'll take a better look at some of these photos. So this is Mandelson, I think at 2 in the morning here, getting back home from being bailed out. This doesn't look like a guy who's too concerned, by the way, about going to jail. Bro is just casually going back home. So basically, let's read a little bit about what happened very briefly, and then we'll go to another clip. So I guess the Met in the UK has been investigating allegations that he leaked Downing Street emails and market-sensitive information. We're talking about Peter Mandelson here, the guy who was arrested. That he leaked market-sensitive information to the disgraced U.S. financier. They're still calling Epstein a financier. Crazy. During his time as business secretary, Mandelson has denied any wrongdoing. His arrest coming days before a crucial by-election in Gorton and Denton, Greater Manchester, will be an uncomfortable reminder of what critics say is one of Keir Starmer's worst lapses of judgment in office. So this goes into all types of UK political stuff. I'm not going to jump into that too much. But look, guys, it's plain and simple to see what's happening. The House of Cards is starting to come down. And let me just say, by the way, again, I got to give huge credit. Yeah, we're going to cover the Mexico story coming up, guys, but one story at a time. I see you guys in the chat. But I have to give huge, massive credit to the UK, because here's the thing. This is one of the few things that the UK recently, in terms of government, has gotten right. They are going after these guys. Not only that, they're trying to make an example out of these guys, whether it's the royal family, whether it's people in government. They're seeing what's happening with these Epstein files. They're seeing the way it's reflecting on the royals. Because here's the thing about the royal family in the UK. They have a much better ability of realizing when than, say, the U.S. government. The U.S. government will keep doing things that make them unpopular for years and months on end. The U.S. government will keep going down a certain path and really not even have a concept of what damage control could be or what it should be. That's the difference between government and the monarchy in this sense, is that the royal family, when they start feeling the public opinion shift, they make very swift moves to remedy that. They make very swift moves to try to regain footing and regain their sense of control, but also their popularity. So, you know, the fact that former Prince Andrew is tied into this, the fact that government officials in the UK are tied into this, I think they realize if they don't do something now, the whole establishment will crumble. And they can't afford that. You know, the UK can't afford to have most of the people in the country completely lose faith in the royal family. They can also not afford for more people to lose faith in their government, because let's be frank, a lot of people in the UK have already lost faith in their government. Most people in the UK are disillusioned. They don't believe in their own systems. They don't feel safe from the police, or even having the police around. They feel like it makes no difference. They don't believe their politicians. They don't believe anything. They're getting arrested for, you know, poor language. They're getting arrested for not saying the right term, or for saying an off-color remark, or liking a Facebook comment. You know, not very popular at the moment. The political and government systems, and I would dare say even the royal family in the UK. The last thing they can afford right now is a scandal like this to continue to grow. And they tried to cover it up. Look, they tried to cover it up. They sent Prince Andrew out for the interview, that pathetic staged interview that he did, to try to cover it up. It blew up in their face. They tried denying it. And now we've reached a point of no return where the people are wise to you. The people know exactly what's going on. So what do they have to do now? They got to lock somebody up. They got to put somebody away. They have to make an example out of somebody in order to retain some sense of order and control over the people. So that's what we're seeing now. Maybe it makes sense that it's starting in the UK, because they are much more PR savvy than a country like the United States, and they will throw their own under the bus in order to keep the greater good of the whole thing going. Whether that's good or bad is up for debate. Should we look at a little bit of the interview from... Let's take a little look at the interview from Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew. But this was when he was Prince. I just want to play this before we read some of the new information that's come out. Now, for anybody who missed the beginning of the stream, one of the stories we're about to cover is the fact that Prince Andrew was allegedly using taxpayer money, guys. Taxpayer money to actually fund his activities with Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to jump into that. But I think it's important that we revisit some of these clips after a while, because just like a lot of the questions about Jeffrey Epstein are sort of being lost in the mix, in the shuffle of everything going on, which, by the way, I don't think is an accident. I think part of the technique, part of the strategy right now from especially the U.S. government and other foreign governments, of which we're all well aware of, I think the biggest part of their strategy to date is to throw so many different things out there so that we actually stop asking the important questions. I do think there's a strategy behind the release of these files, the way they're releasing them, dumping out millions of files all at once. Look over here, look over there. This guy was in it, but this guy was in it and he's not guilty. He was in it and he was guilty. Just look at all this stuff and stay distracted. Don't ask how he made his money. Don't ask anything. My point is this. I think it's very important that we don't let some of these poignant things, these things that really should be looked at, these things that really should not be overlooked, I hope we don't let them get lost in the shuffle, and we need to keep revisiting a lot of these questions. And the other thing we need to revisit is the denials. All these videos of people saying, well, Pizzagate is a conspiracy from 4chan, and there's no truth to it. All these people who said anybody talking about Epstein was a conspiracy theorist are ridiculous. All those videos need to be replayed on a regular basis to remind people what we're dealing with. But most importantly, we need to play the videos of the people involved actually denying this. That's why I'm going to play just a short segment of this interview with former Prince Andrew. Because as it comes to light, we have to remember, not only was it true, these people lied to our faces the entire time. These people covered it up actively. They knew exactly what was going on. They even knew that we knew they were guilty. But they still continued speaking to us like we were stupid. Like we're sheep. Like the common folk. A bunch of peasants who can't put two and two together. When all the while, we've known everything behind their tricks. We've known everything. We knew Prince Andrew was guilty. We knew Bill Gates was guilty. We knew everybody was on this list. We've been knowing it for a long time. We need to play these clips. We need to remember how they lied to us. I'll never forget how they lied to us. Thank you, Lois. Have a great day.
I had to show leadership, and I had to go and see him, and I had to tell him, that's it.
That was December of 2020.
So he's talking about cutting off his relationship with Epstein, claiming that he went to cut off the relationship at a certain date when he was actually caught with him later.
Was what I would describe as understanding. He didn't go into any great depth in the conversation about what I was doing, or what he was doing, except to say that he'd accepted whatever it was, a plea bargain. He'd served his time. And he was carrying on with his life, you see what I mean? And I said, yes, but I'm afraid to say that's as may be. But with all the attendant scrutiny on me, then I don't think it is a wise thing to do.
Who advised you then that it was a good idea to go and break up the friendship? Did that come from the palace? Was Her Majesty the Queen involved?
No. That came from... So there were a number of people who so some people from...
By the way, imagine going to have a friends breakup with a convicted pedophile. Like, dude, I've had relationship breakups that are, like, less involved than that. I mean, I've literally had breakups where we just stopped talking. I've had broken up with girls and even friendships, ending where we just kind of stop talking. But you needed to give this convicted sex offender the honor. Do your due diligence to end the relationship in a proper way, to go meet him face to face. He deserved that. Jeffrey Epstein deserved that much.
My staff, some people from friends and family I was talking to, and I took the decision that I had to show leadership, and I had to go and see him, and I had to tell him, that's it.
Had to show leadership. Had to be a leader. And go meet the convicted pedophile.
It was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honor.
Oops. Forgot about that one, didn't you?
Oh, in 2010, there certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honor.
Yeah, call ice on me. I don't live in America, dipshit.
Well, I was there, so
let's see how far ice can travel.
It was a dinner. I don't think it was quite.
Ice can't afford me.
As you might put it, but yeah, okay. I was there at a dinner. Yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Oh my gosh, bro! This clip right here is my favorite clip. I mean, the fact that somebody not only dreamt up that this would be his answer, because think about the conversation before this interview. This was a heavily orchestrated interview for sure. This was an interview where he had the questions in advance for sure. The idea that they sat down to formulate his answers and agreed that this would be the one, and then decided to sit down and broadcast this on television. This is historical footage. I mean, I don't know who is advising these people in the royal family, but the concept that they dreamt that up as his alibi. I was staying at a convicted sex offender's house because it was a convenient place to stay. That was the political PR response that they came up with. Shit, how can we explain that he was staying at a pedophile's house? Oh, it was convenient to stay there. I mean, did you see how close it was to the Times Square subway station? It's right next to the subway. How is a member of the royal family supposed to stay somewhere in Manhattan without being close to the subway? There's a great bodega at the end of the street. It was convenient for Prince Andrew to stay there. I mean, this is historical archive footage of the definition of what corruption looks like. This is the definition also of how stupid the elites think we are. If there's ever a question of how stupid the people in power think the everyday person is, just go watch a video like this, because they'll sit down and they actually think that you're going to believe this. They will literally sit down and tell you a lie that a kindergartner wouldn't believe. A preschooler wouldn't even buy this. And they will tell grown adults, grown taxpayers, to their faces these lies, and they expect us to believe it. If you ever question how stupid and worthless your government officials and the people in power and the billionaires think you are, just watch a video like this. They think we're below scum. Take however low you think billionaires and politicians think of you. Take that and just make it 10 points lower. And that's the reality of how they actually feel about you. They think we are stupid. And you know what? I got to hand it to them in a way, because a lot of us are stupid. Here's the truth too. There's a lot of stupid people out there. I'm not trying to make it sound like the everyday person is some high IQ genius here. There's a lot of dumb people who actually did believe this. There's a lot of people who called the people who didn't believe it conspiracy theorists. Maybe the elites are just wise to that. Maybe they realize there actually are a lot of dumb people, and maybe the people who are smart enough to see through it there's not enough of us and we're maybe not doing enough. So it doesn't really matter if some people see through it. It doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, what do people do even if it is true? They lied, they covered it up, and people went with that, a lot of folks. Now we find out it's true, and people still don't care. You know, where's the public outrage? I mean, sure, there's some outrage. You can feel it to a degree. A lot of people are asking questions. A lot of people are angry. But not as many as I thought would be. Yes, some people care that things are being run by evil, demon-worshipping pedos, but not enough care. We're not talking about it loud enough. And why am I the weird guy for doing streams about it, but they're not the weird guys for being demonic pedos? You see the level of conditioning here? I'm the weirdo for asking questions and inquiring why we're being governed by these people, but they're not weird for worshiping Moloch, the owl god, out in the woods in California, or having sick, disgusting, depraved parties on islands in the Caribbean. Somehow they're the normal ones, and I'm the weirdo. You see where I'm going with this? Maybe they're right. Maybe we are fucking dumb. Maybe we don't deserve to be told the truth. Maybe we deserve to be treated like we're stupid because most of us are fucking stupid. That's that. You know what? I may have done a complete 180 on my entire opinion. It's just bizarre to me. It's just bizarre to me. We just accept it. Shout out to the chat, man. We're not talking aloud about them demons. We got to talk about it. That's the only thing we can do is talk about it. I can't do much else. That's why I'm like, if I'm going to reach for this microphone and turn this on, we're at least going to talk about something productive. I mean, you know how many views I could get talking about stupid shit? I would be a millionaire. Look, if I came on here and did a dating show and I had girls out here with their titties out and so how long have you been doing OnlyFans? I would be balling right now. I would much rather talk about this. I'm very comfortable talking about what I'm talking about. Toyna says he thinks he has a right because he's royalty, but that makes him that much worse. Absolutely. They're all sick, both sides. Nick, exactly. Dude, there is no sides. The sides are us versus the rich and powerful. This is what people don't understand. Well, I think people are starting to understand it, but those are the sides. There's all of us collectively versus the 13 families who own everything. That's the sides. Democrat, Republican, race, religion. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. That's what keeps us weak. That's what keeps us powerless. Well, Democrats blocked this bill and the Republicans, they're all making money from the same place. They're all answering to the same foreign countries. Doesn't even matter who's the president. I mean, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, guys, but so let's watch maybe one more moment from this interview, and then we're gonna jump into the new details, guys. If you're liking the stream, make sure to like and subscribe. The next story, we're gonna look at how Prince Andrew actually used taxpayer money to fund his activities with Epstein. Let's just watch like 30 more seconds of this interview, because this is like a movie to me. This is like a fascinating film.
It was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do, and I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
My tendency to be too honourable.
It was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
Because during
These people are so dumb. I can't believe these people think we're falling for this crap. So let's look at the news story that came out. So Prince Andrew, this is the news story that just broke. And there's another story 27 minutes ago. I mean, there's all types of new stuff that's happening. But the main story I wanted to cover was that BBC is reporting that Prince Andrew allegedly charged taxpayers for massage services and more while he was actually doing his business with Jeffrey Epstein. So this is a major story that I think is going to piss a lot of people off, and rightfully so. So evidently, BBC reports here, he charged taxpayers for massages and excessive travel while working at the UK's trade envoy. This is as reported by the BBC, and their source is cited as whistleblowing retired civil servants who are actually blowing the whistle on Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew. So one of the civil servants who worked in the UK's trade department in the early 2000s had been so annoyed by Andrew's request to cover the cost of, quote, massage services that he'd refused to pay the cost. But he says it was overruled by a senior staffer. I think we need to figure out who that staffer was immediately and have him investigated. I thought it was wrong. I'd said we mustn't pay it, but we ended up paying it anyway, the whistleblower told the BBC. The Department of Business and Trade had not challenged the claim about Andrew's time as envoy between 2001 and 2011, but has referred to the ongoing police investigation into the former prince. All these photos of Jeffrey Epstein, by the way, for a guy who's supposed to be hiding, there sure are a lot of pictures of him. A lot of candid photos. It is a little suspicious that you're doing all this top secret stuff with all these secret people and you're constantly being candidly shot on camera. I mean, then again, not to go fully conspiracy, but maybe that was a way to get people comfortable with the idea of being on camera. I mean, if you're running a blackmail operation, maybe that's necessary. That's a whole other rabbit hole. There's no evidence there. So the BBC has approached former Prince Andrew for a response on these claims. He's always rejected any wrongdoing in his associations with pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein and denied any personal gain from his role as trade envoy. Let's see what else it says. Another source, a former senior Whitehall official, backs up the claim. This former civil servant who oversaw finances in the area had seen similar expenses for Andrew's trips and said he has, quote, absolutely no doubt about its authenticity. Both of the former civil servants wanted to remain anonymous but have separately spoken to the BBC about their claims. BBC adds they have not seen proof of the claim about charging for massages from over 20 years ago. But these are whistleblowers who have been, I guess, verified, at least well enough. BBC, to be honest, they could be full of shit. I mean, they don't have that great of a track record, to be frank. They have been caught with a lot of stuff. But look, guys, this is enraging information. And honestly, for me, if I was a taxpayer in the UK, this would be enough to send me into the streets rioting. I don't endorse violence. When I say rioting, that's probably the wrong word. But this would have me in the streets protesting peacefully, 100%. And it just goes to show how deep this runs. It just goes to show how long it's been happening. But my only question is this. To all these whistleblowers, to all these people who knew this was going on, why were you guys so quiet while it was happening? I really have trouble when people try to paint these whistleblowers as some kind of hero when they were perfectly fine and perfectly content sitting back collecting checks for 20 years or 15 years or however many years they work for these people. They're perfectly comfortable then with the crimes and the wrongdoings and the misdeeds as long as their bills are paid. It's the same thing with Diddy. Diddy's security guard has a whole YouTube channel. Have you guys seen this? Gene Deal, the former top security guard for Diddy, for like 25 years. He has a YouTube channel now exposing all of Diddy's freak-offs and exposing all of his wrongdoings. Well, my question for Gene was, what were you exposing back in 1999 when this was actually happening? Well, the answer is nothing. So how am I supposed to believe that you are some sort of white knight now that you're coming out and deciding to do the right thing because you can't sleep at night? It's been 20 years since the crimes happened. Now you're broke and you need money and you need traction and you can't sleep at night because you know you're a piece of shit. So now you want to come out and make a YouTube channel about Diddy's freak-offs? Now the assistants for Prince Andrew want to come out and blow the whistle? Well, why weren't you blowing the whistle when you were transporting him to meet minors on Epstein Island? Because you were handsomely paid. And that's the way it goes, folks. Look, everybody will sell out in this world if given the opportunity. That's what people don't understand, okay? People always say, there's no dollar amount that can make me compromise my morals. There's no amount of money in the world you could offer me to go with that. Really? Because most people do. Once the money is actually in front of people, and this is why, maybe I have a bit of a pessimistic view on humanity. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to have a more positive outlook on people. But I'm struggling with it because I maybe have a very objective view of reality. If you offer most people the actual money, not a hypothetical scenario, a check or a recurring payment or a bank transfer, you would be surprised how many people will cash out all of their morals, all of their self-beliefs, all of their decency, their humanity. It all goes away. This is when the money is actually presented. People have a very easy time saying, well, there's no amount of money and just wait till you see that check. It does something to people. And that's why I think all these whistleblowers, all these people, you shouldn't be rewarded because you guys helped this happen. I would almost say it's equally as bad if you knew this was happening and you didn't do something about it. Now, there's not much an employee can do in a scenario like this. I don't expect them to overthrow the whole operation. But quitting is enough. If you're powerless and you can't actually do something, if I'm working at a restaurant and the chef is assaulting the workers, I would probably report it because that's what I would do, but I would also quit. I would much rather find a new profession, a new place of employment than to be employed by people like this. So screw the lot of them. Listen, I will take any information that the whistleblowers are able to give us. That's fine. Give us all the information. At this point, I'll welcome it, but I don't welcome you. I don't trust you. I don't want to hear you be righteous. I don't want to hear you cast any sort of judgment on anybody because, frankly, you are just as bad. You are just as bad because you sat idle and let that happen to those kids. A lot of talk about who's right, a lot of talk about who's wrong, a lot of talk about who's innocent, who's not. Not enough talk about the kids. Not enough talk about the kids who were fucked up for the rest of their lives from this. Not enough talk about the parents who sold their kids, in many cases willingly, to these animals, these demons. Where are these people? Can we arrest them too? Where are these kids' parents? Who is standing up for these children? Nobody. It's a war of who's innocent and who's not, and whose company is going to go under and who's not. It's a battle of the capitalists. It's a battle of the elites. Nobody cares about those kids, though. It's physically sick. It's physically sickening to me. I'm sorry to go off on a rampage and not read the chat very much. Thank you guys for your kind comments. I appreciate it. Shout out to everybody who's just joining. I'm seeing it's all about money, the trafficking, the drugs, everything. It's all about money. Exactly. They need to be put under the jail. Dude, literally build something under the underneath of the jail and put them even lower. It's bread and circuses, exactly. I'm just reading the chat here. Think about this. Think about how Justin Bieber's mother sent him off to Hollywood, not even knowing people. Why? For fame and money. Exactly. The kids want real transparency, not half the files still hidden. Thank you guys for your comments, man. I so agree with you, and I'm so glad that we're together on this because it's so true. And I thank God that somebody actually cares about this. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. Look, I'm actually seeing a lot of citizen journalists and a lot of people who are just everyday YouTubers and stuff. They're finding out more about this than the government is. My thing is this. Let's just keep doing our work. Let's keep investigating ourselves. We have a lot of evidence right now. Let's figure some shit out. Let's not let this end here. So yeah, that's the latest story. Let's look at some more information about Prince Andrew and the taxes. This is crazy this is the part that makes my blood boil. Not only just doing what you're doing, but you're using tax dollars to do it. It's an absolute slap in the face.
While the Prince and Princess of Wales were trying to keep up appearances on the BAFTA Awards red carpet in his temporary accommodation, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's home for more than 20 years.
Damn. And all these pieces of shit are living like kings. I mean, look at this dude's house. This is why they feel emboldened. They do all these crimes and they go home to this and no handcuffs? No wonder they think they can do whatever they want. They have been for a very long time.
Was the site of police activity all weekend. The former prince is back in his temporary accommodation on the King's Sandringham estate in Norfolk and has not been seen since his release from police custody on Thursday evening. That already iconic image of him being driven out of the station was hung by justice activists in the Louvre.
That's crazy, by the way. I wonder how long the Louvre kept this up. So yeah, an activist put the photo of him. Wow. I still wonder what they told him in that briefing room to make him look that shaken. But he knows something is coming. Honestly, Prince Andrew's probably just going to get Epstein if we're really being real. I mean, he's probably just going to turn up dead. But him, I don't think they're going to keep him alive. I mean, again, I'm not saying Epstein's alive. Something's coming, though. I don't know. You guys have a funny feeling or no? You don't have a face like that unless you were told something that made you feel like you saw a ghost.
Museum in Paris on Sunday. It stayed up for 15 minutes before staff removed it.
15 minutes? That's a pretty good run. Look, somebody saw that before 15 minutes. Shout out to the employee at the Louvre who saw that and didn't take it down right away. 15 minutes is a pretty good run.
As multiple police investigations continue into his relationship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, new allegations have been made regarding Andrew's conduct as a UK trade envoy from 2001 to 2011. Former civil servants allege Andrew
don't even want to show that.
Charge taxpayers for massages and excessive travel costs. It's also alleged that on multiple occasions, British embassies found hosting Andrew to have been more of a hindrance than a help in furthering British trade, with reports of him making offensive remarks, being rude and more interested in chasing after women. Andrew's biographer thinks King Charles may not be able to avoid the fallout if his brother is charged.
Nah, he's done, guys. Like, look, when you're at the point where you're threatening the sanctity of the British royal family, you are threatening an age-old institution which is very finely and well-run. It's a well-oiled machine. One individual is threatening to take the whole establishment down. You're done. You're done, Andrew. It's so satisfying to call him just Andrew. Because you're not a prince. You're a fucking piece of gum under my shoe, buddy. But the thing is this. You're done. It doesn't matter if you were even part of it. look, it's just like a gang. We're going to look at some stuff about Mexico and what's happening with the cartel here in 2 seconds. It's the same with the cartel. You could be a high-ranking official in the cartel. If that same person is now threatening the very establishment of the whole cartel itself, what do you think they're going to do to that guy? You think they're going to let that one guy slide and just let him go and just let the whole house of cards come down for their entire operation, an age-old operation, which is run a certain type of way where there's certain things that you just don't do? There's certain types of negative attention you just don't bring to this establishment? You think they're just going to let the one guy slide? Or you think they're just going to get rid of him somehow? Once they've stripped you of your title and you're still that problem, I mean, I would say give him a couple months to live. maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I'm all of that. I'll take that. I'm just saying, though, I don't see a long life ahead for Prince Andrew unless it's behind bars. What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think about this one? I feel like he's done. Like I don't see how you can be putting an establishment of this level of power in this level of danger and not be held to serious account. That's what I would say. So let's see if there's any more updates really quick. Again, guys, we have a bunch of stories to jump into. We're about to hop into Mexico and what's happening over there. As a full-time traveler, I have a lot of thoughts on what's happening in Mexico. So we're going to hop over to that. But we want to make sure we're covering the top story adequately. Let's just see if there's any updates on Peter Mandelson really quick, who, of course, was also arrested in connection to Jeffrey Epstein on the same charges, by the way, as Prince Andrew. So this is something that's being taken very seriously over in the UK. Let's take a listen to the latest updates. Mandelson was arrested and then bailed out and left police custody. So let's get the update.
Jeffrey Epstein. Our camera captured this the moment the former UK ambassador to the US was released on bail pending further investigation in the early hours of this
morning. So you guys are saying the same thing as me. I feel like his days are numbered. And I have to make it very clear. I'm not wishing violence on anybody. I don't endorse violence on anybody. I need to remember my legal terms when I speak like this, so let me restate it for the record. Hypothetically, in my opinion, his days are numbered. That's my official statement on Prince Andrew. Hypothetically, in my opinion.
Jeffrey Epstein. Our camera captured this the moment the former UK ambassador to the US was released on bail pending further investigation in the early hours of this morning. He was arrested at his home on Monday afternoon on suspicion of misconduct in public office after allegations emerged in the Epstein files that Mandelson had passed market-sensitive information to Epstein while he was a government minister. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Mario Roy.
This is an extraordinary Tuesday morning. Parliament only just back from recess 48 hours ago, and already things have turned quite dramatically. So as you were outlining, just in terms of the facts of what we saw yesterday, Peter Mandelson, the former UK's ambassador to the US and former cabinet minister, of course, in New Labour, he was arrested by police. Police arrived at his house about 4:45 yesterday afternoon. We understand he was arrested around 5 o'clock in the evening. This is specifically around the Met Police's investigation into misconduct in public office. He was then taken to a police station in South London.
No handcuffs, by the way. It's crazy the special treatment these pedophiles get, dude. Not even handcuffed. Literal pedophile. No, sir, we're not going to handcuff you. We'll walk you to the car. You can retain your dignity.
Into misconduct in public office.
Fuck all these guys.
He was then taken to a police station in South London, kept there for at least 8 hours, and then a car with him inside, of course, left the police station around 1:15 a.m. this morning, and he arrived home just before 2 a.m. This morning as well. Now, of course, we are waiting.
I'm seeing in the chat, by the way, Patty's saying that basically Prince Andrew is the reason that this whole can opened in the first place. Yeah, let's pull up that video of Trump saying Prince Andrew is going to have a lot of problems with that island. With the infamous island. Bro, the way he used to talk about it in like such a playful way, now he's so fed up. Trump is so fed up. See, why is this all like hard to find now? Trump talks about Epstein Island. It shouldn't be hard to find. It's what they do. They have this shit buried so you can't find it. Trump talks about Epstein Island. Like, why the fuck are they doing this now? See, they don't want us to find these videos. Before presidency. If this doesn't come up now, then it's totally shadow banned. Wow, guys. See what they do? You guys see what they do? You can't even find a video. Like, we all know the video that we're talking about. And I can't find the fucking video. So stupid. It's like I'm living in a fucking Chinese communist internet. This is so fucking annoying, man. And I'll never forget when it happened, because I remember I used to be able to find everything on the internet, dude. I used to be able to find the conspiracy videos and all this stuff, and I'll never forget, one day I just turned on my TV in like 2012. I just couldn't find anything anymore. What's that one video? I was looking at this video. They're all gone now. All right, well, I guess we'll look at something else. That fucking annoys me. That really annoys me. I guess let's see what Trump has been saying recently. They're on to me, guys. They're on to me, chat. They're on to me. Yeah, you're right. I'm complaining on the same website. What do you think they're going to do to me? Chat, you're right. Yeah, I should chill. Because, yeah, what do you think they're going to do to my videos? I'm already shadow banned enough. Here's what Trump had to say about Andrew's arrest.
I got a question about something big overseas today. The former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. So I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite.
Look how happy he looks saying that, by the way. This dude really thinks he's gotten off scot-free. And it's very apparent in his demeanor. Because usually when he talks about Epstein, he seems pissed. Now, he seems happy about it. And he's super happy, by the way, that people aren't talking about him in reference to it. He's like, thank God. What do you guys think? Like, yes or no? Do you think Trump is exonerated? I wouldn't go as far to say exonerated. I mean, I think there's still a lot of questions. I will say he's probably in a better standing than he was before. I think before he started releasing files and at least acting more transparent. I'm not going to say they're being transparent because there's a lot of things redacted. There's still a lot of questions that we have, and he's being complicit in covering a lot of this up. But I do think he's in better standing than he was before when he was hiding everything. When he was hiding everything, no files released, didn't want to answer the questions, let's stop talking about it, he seemed insanely guilty. I never really bought into the Trump Epstein stuff before. When he started acting like that, I thought he was 1,000% super duper guilty. Super duper guilty. now, I mean, I still think he's probably guilty of some stuff, but I'm starting to question what it is.
I did nothing.
I did
In fact, the opposite.
nothing wrong with those kids, boy.
It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
I'm reading the comments, guys. I'm reading what you're saying. He was mentioned 38,000 times. Yeah, he's not exonerated. No, it's ridiculous. Bondi's covering for him, absolutely. He wears diapers. What? I don't even want... That's a visual I don't need, to be frank with you. Frankly, I don't need it. Frankly, it's not the greatest visual. Oh, my Trump's getting better. Hang on a second. The greatest Trump. See, then I overdo it. So, yeah, guys, I don't know. I mean, this whole thing is a nightmare. These guys have been arrested. Let's maybe jump over to the next story. I want to look at everything that's happening in Mexico. I want to look at everything that's happening. I don't know if Trump has made any comments about Mexico. I would really like to see what he has to say. Let's just take a quick look to see if that's happened. Trump unleashes on Mexico's president. So, guys, if you don't know what happened in Mexico, one of their biggest drug leaders, who went by the name of El Mencho, he was killed in a federal operation over in Mexico. Now, the full details of what led to this operation aren't exactly clear, but one thing we do know is that the cartel is consistently fighting with the local police, local law enforcement, and local government in Mexico. It's something that's happening all across the country, obviously at pretty much all times. Trump has tried to jump in and deal with Mexico's president and offer to combat the cartels. But as we're seeing here with this new footage that's coming out, this isn't really one of those situations that can be remedied overnight. You know, Trump likes to try to remedy it overnight. I made a call to Thailand and Cambodia. I ended the war. I did this and that. I did it quickly. This isn't one of those situations that can be remedied with a phone call. This is a situation that, I mean, you try to go up against the cartels, this lady's whole bloodline's going to get killed. This is guerrilla warfare, old school, chopping heads. This is a whole different scenario. Let's take a look at some of the footage of what's actually happening in Mexico after the murder of El Mencho, and then we're going to hop into the details of what's actually happening behind the scenes with why he was killed and how. The footage coming out of here is so crazy.
Violence has broken out in several cities across Mexico, hours after the army confirmed it had killed one of the country's most feared drug lords. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. He was shot in a dawn raid and died from his injuries. Mexico said the operation was carried out with U.S. intelligence. Will Grant reports.
Nemesio Oseguera, known as El Mencho, was quite simply the most wanted drug lord in Mexico.
So he was the most wanted drug lord next to Pablo Escobar and or El Chapo, I think it was. Somebody says I'm blocking chat that calls me out. I'm not blocking any chat, dude. I'm reading it.
Responsible for trafficking huge quantities of cocaine, methamphetamine and fentanyl into the United States, he'd evaded the authorities for years, until now. So far, the Mexican military has not released images, but El Mencho was injured during a raid in Jalisco State and then died while being taken to Mexico City. The Mexican embassy in the US said it was carried out with US intelligence. The reaction from his cartel has been immediate and violent. Unverified pictures, thought to be filmed in Puerto Vallarta on the Jalisco coast, show plumes of smoke rising.
People on vacation filming this, by the way. Tourists.
The tourist hotspot. And there's destruction across Mexico, including in Guadalajara, one of the host cities of this summer's FIFA World Cup. The US has warned its citizens to shelter in place as the violence unfolds. The killing of El Mencho represents...
So crazy. Let's look at some of the other videos from tourists just so we can really wrap our minds around what's happening at these resorts, what's happening at all these places. This is insane. We also have details on the girl who might have got him killed, but one thing at a time. This is the girl here that they're saying got him killed. But again, one story at a time. Here's another video coming in from tourists in Mexico. Take a look at this, guys. It looks like an end of world film. Crazy, crazy footage from people's vacations here. This is the craziest one, I think. Just a Costco just burning down in broad daylight. This is so insane. And, you know, I have to say, looking at these videos as a full-time traveler, just why would you go to Mexico? I don't want to sound ignorant. I know that does sound ignorant. Mexico is a big country with a lot of beautiful places and a lot to offer. I understand that, okay? But that being said, you know, people ask me all the time, Cassius, why are you always in Thailand? Why are you always in Asia? Why are you always in Vietnam? And of course, the answer is simple for the lady boys. No, but actually, the reason I stay in these countries is because not only are they cheap, they're actually safe. You know, traveling is great and it's awesome to travel, but traveling isn't great when you get robbed at 2 a.m. Travel isn't great when you lose your documents. Travel isn't great when you don't feel safe walking down the street, or you're scared of the cops, or you're scared of cartels. Traveling also isn't great when you're confined to 4 walls and you can't leave a resort. I don't buy into those places. I don't see why you would spend your money going to those places. If you can't leave the walls of a resort, I've said it before, you're not actually visiting that place to begin with. And also, why would you want to visit that place to begin with? It makes zero sense. And there's a lot of places I'd like to go. A lot of places I'd like to go. I would like to go to Brazil. I would like to go to many other countries. But the reality is this. It's not safe. And there's certain countries. See, here's the thing about travel. There's certain countries that get a rap for not being safe. Thailand is another country that people say it's not safe. But you don't see videos of cars exploding and cartels murdering people in the streets out of Thailand. A little bit of discernment. Maybe Rio de Janeiro or, you know, places in Mexico or wherever are not the number one places to go and travel. Slightly higher rates of, I don't know, stray bullets. Me personally, I like being able to walk around at night and not get socked in the face and jumped. Usually I like my ribs without a knife in them. That's just my personal preference. Typically not a fan of the knife in the ribs. Little, kind of throws a wrench in the vacation. I like to go to places that are actually safe. And people get distracted by the cheap prices and they go to places that aren't safe. Let's look at this video of this woman. And see, the Mexico is safe crowd. These people are crazy. These people are crazy. Like, that's the thing. This is ridiculous. These people are still trying to sell this lie. Let's listen to this woman. She says, keep your flights to Mexico. It's a perfect time to come.
Guys, so I just wanted to give an update on Cancun, Mexico, because I know some of you are traveling to Cancun, and even though we're on the other side of everything that's going on, I know so there have been some concerns about traveling. So this is what's been happening over here. So I was actually out and about all day yesterday when everything was happening, because I didn't know it was happening. I was at the mall, the big mall, Las Americas. No weird activity in there. Went to Costco, same thing, everything was running as normal. And then on the way home, I noticed that there was a more police presence, and I'm guessing because of everything, but everything else was operating as normal. People are still going on their everyday lives.
How stupid is this bitch? You know, I think that we should start actually administering an IQ test before we hand out passports. That's truly what my belief is. There needs to be a mandatory IQ test before you are permitted to leave your country. This goes for all nations, especially America. I'm sorry. These fucking people who come in here and tell, this woman is an idiot. This woman does not need a passport. She doesn't need a passport. She's guessing there's an increased police. Just listen to what she says. You're going to say, Cassius, you're being mean. You're mean. Why are you calling her that? Just listen to her for a sec. Don't listen to me. Listen to her.
A weird activity in there. Went to Costco. Same thing. Everything was running as normal. And then on the way home, I noticed that there was a more police presence. And I'm guessing because of everything.
Oh, you're guessing. You're guessing the increased police presence in Mexico, where you currently are, is due to the mass gang wars and cartel violence occurring across the entire whole of the country. You're guessing that's what it is. I mean, I guess we're getting closer to some logical thought. We're getting closer.
But everything else was operating as normal. People are still going on their everyday lives. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, I'm sending all my prayers to everyone on the other side. But, like, it's been kind of absurd. Some of the things I've been seeing online and, like, saying all these horrible things about Mexico and people. And I'm like, please, like, just make sure, look at the information that's been going on. I mean, yeah, you might see things that are closed. I mean, right now everything is closed here at the mall, but it's also 8 in the morning. So I'll send another update later, but as of now, everything is good. A little windy than normal, I will say, but overall.
Oh, it's a little windy. Okay, well, in that case, I shouldn't go. You know, I was perfectly comfortable visiting Mexico up until that point with everything I've learned so far, but a little windy, that's a deal breaker for me. Thank you for mentioning that crucial point of information. But it's so crazy. I don't know why people go to these war-torn countries. People go to countries with cartels. People go to countries where people are getting publicly executed, getting their heads blown off in the street. Don't turn down that road. The cartel's down there. Why would I pay to go to a place like that? And for all the people saying, just go, hundreds of thousands of people go. Just because a lot of people do it doesn't make it safe. Okay, a lot of people drink alcohol. It's one of the most unsafe things you can do. A lot of people are fine. Doesn't mean it's safe to do. A lot of people snort cocaine. Most of them are fine. That doesn't make it safe. So you can tell me, well, 10 million people went to Rio and only, 950,000 of them were killed. That's called getting lucky. Now, my reason for what I do and, traveling to notoriously safe countries is that if you don't test your luck in a negative way, you're less likely to meet your unlucky day. Now, I could have an unlucky day anywhere. I could have an unlucky day back home in Canada. I could have an unlucky day in Thailand. I could have an unlucky day in Vietnam. I could be in the wrong place at the wrong time and get robbed or have something happen to me. I don't even want to speak that into existence. But if you don't press your luck and you actually go where the odds are in your favor, you're a lot less likely to have an unlucky day. So that's why I do what I do. I go to countries where I can walk around at 3, 4 in the morning. I'm not going to get robbed. Nothing's going to happen to me. Nobody's going to rob me at a red light and get off the bike and stab me or do any of this shit. And if they do, I would much rather it be a freak accident. Because here's the last thing I'll say. If you go to a place like that and something happens to you, you can't expect anybody to feel bad for you. Like if this woman is caught in the crossfire of cartel shootouts, am I supposed to feel bad for this woman? Or am I going to say she was a fucking idiot? Go where the odds are in your favor, my friends. It's got to suck to be so scared of life. Dude, I travel the world. Who is scared of life? Doesn't mean I'm going to go to dangerous places, my guy. Let me see. So yeah, we see some people talking about Epstein. I'm just reading what you guys are saying here right quick. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's take a look at some more information. So there's a couple more pieces of information about El Muncho. So first, the one that I wanted to play is a phone call. So basically, it's come out that El Muncho, the famous drug dealer, cartel gangbanger, who was just killed and caused all this reaction in Mexico, he has an interesting past. Not only was he a criminal for a career, but El Muncho was actually a former police officer in Mexico. Now, this was something that people thought could maybe hold him back when it came to rising up in the cartel, but actually quite the opposite. This fact about El Mencho actually helped propel him to the top of the cartel, because not only did he have knowledge of how the police force actually worked and the inside of their operations, he had inside contacts and firsthand knowledge of how to deal with them as the cartel. See, this is a classic case of someone going from the good side to the bad side, although I'm not sure Mexican police are necessarily that inherently morally good, but that's a whole other subject. That in mind, let's take a listen to this audio recording from 2016 of El Mencho ordering a police officer and all of his other officers to stand down. This is a drug dealer ordering them, the police, to fall back. Not only ordering them to fall back, but being actually insulted that they would even dare invade and encroach on his space. Let's take a listen to this phone call from El Mencho, and we're really going to know what we're dealing with here. Am I saying his name wrong? Everybody's writing Mencho. Like, look, if you look at the X post here, it says El Mencho. El Muncho. My apologies. Even though I really could give a fuck what his name is. The guy's a scumbag.
Delta 1. Hey, ¿quién habla? Mira,
so we got subtitles there for anybody who's just listening.
Bien, hijo de tu puta madre. Soy Mencho, güey. Relaja tu puta gente a la verga. Soy Mencho, güey. Relaja tus putas partidas, si no te voy a partir tu madre, tía, toda tu bola de perros. Te tengo identificado 30 güeyes. Hasta tus putos perros te voy a matar si no te relajas, güey. ¿Cómo ves?
Says he's gonna kill their dogs, dude. That's so... Why do the most evil guys have to kill the dog? That's too evil for me.
Tus putos perros te voy a matar si no te relajas, güey. ¿Cómo ves?
Ya está, señor, ahorita los bajo.
Oh, no cuelgues, hijo de la verga. Te tengo ubicado en Chacala, güey.
No le estoy colgando, le estoy diciendo, ahorita los bajo.
Póngase bien las pilas, güey. ¿Qué se le cuesta ser amigo, cabrón? ¿Uno no se mete con ustedes para que se pasen de verga?
No, señor, ahorita yo se las bajo.
Pongan, mire, revíremeles a todos los hijos de su puta madre, porque todos agarran dinero y son buenos de puercos.
Sí, es lo que me están diciendo.
¿Se me ponen a tiro o tú eres el primero que vas a marchar por ellos, León?
No, señor.
¿Vale?
No, señor, no se trata de eso.
Váyase a la verga, porque aquí los vergazos están al 220, ya se la sabe. Y miedo no hay.
No, señor, no se trata de eso. Ahorita yo lo sabré.
Entonces, si quiere amistad, aquí va a tener un amigazo, cabrón. Si no, a chingar a su madre a la verga.
No, yo sé, señor.
Ya estoy hasta la verga de que no entiendan, loco.
Señor, usted me conoce, usted sabe que yo soy amistad.
Pues por eso me extraña, cabrón. Yo te entiendo, güey, pero pues no mames, yo sé que tienes gente y la familia de chingada. Verga, póngase las putas pilas.
Yo lo sé, señor. Nada más
no quiero que me apagues este puto teléfono. Después te voy a marcar, güey. A ver si no se relajaron a la verga, ¿eh?
No, ahorita le voy a marcar.
A todos en general, güey. Relájenmelos a la verga, por favor.
Ahorita le voy a marcar de otro número, a este número que me está marcando.
No, este ya no le vuelvas a marcar. Yo le marco cuando yo pueda.
Ándale, pues.
Pero no me lo apague porque lo voy a entender como negatividad.
No, señor. Ahorita le mando un mensaje de otro número para que no me quede.
Órale, pues, Melón. Ahí les quiero eso, que se relajen a la verga.
Sí, señor. Usted me conoce. Usted sabe que hay respeto y hay amistad. Nada más
ya
aquí.
está, igualmente. De aquí para allá también.
Yeah, the cop sounds scared, man. He sounds like he's being scolded by a higher up, which he is. I mean, that's the thing. He literally sounds like a guy in the principal's office. Not only am I sorry, I'm sorry that you felt disrespected by the action too. This is crazy. And look, people give criticism to Mexico's president for not wanting to go hand to hand with the police, with the cartels rather, to try to combat them directly. Do people not understand who we're dealing with here? They're going to have this woman's head on a stake the second she does anything. That's the scariest part about this. And there's more people on their side than there are on the quote-unquote good side. More cartel than there is police. More cartel than there is anybody. They got firing power. They got it on lock. So it's crazy to think about. But I don't know how it's ever going to change in Mexico. If they do, like if Trump decides to make some sweeping move, which wouldn't really surprise me at this point, I feel like he's going to do something. There's no way Trump's not going to do something when it comes to this. But I feel like if he does some crazy kind of move, we're going to see bloodshed like we've never seen before. We're going to see bloodshed at an unprecedented level. We'll check again to see. I don't even know what time it is in America right now. All these people calling me American in the chat. I don't even live in North America. Get your facts straight, guys. I don't know what's going on over there. Let's take a look at Trump and see if he has anything to say about El Moncho. Everybody's saying Moncho, but these titles say Mencho. Let's take a listen. So cartel takes over Mexico with over 34,000 members. Dude, they have an army. They have a damn army.
CJNG was killed in Mexico. It seemed the Jalisco New Generation cartel's influence would wane. However, in response, the cartel launched a full-scale war against the Mexican state. According to various estimates, the CJNG was between 18,000 and 34,000 members. Since 2009, El Mencho has been building it not as a typical large gang, but as a full-fledged military and political force. For the average Russian, the words Mexico, cartel, conjure up images of thugs with machetes and pistols, like in the TV series Breaking Bad. But the CJNG, if you look at the facts, actually has fully fledged army units and its own special forces, which in fact looks like special forces, not a gang of gangsters.
Yeah, apparently if you get pulled over by the cartel in Mexico, you would actually think it was police. Let's find, so cartel Mexico 2026. Let's see what they wear. Like, this shit is so crazy. Because when I first saw videos of the cartel, I thought it was like the Mexican military. Look at this. Dude, imagine getting pulled over by these guys, and they're not even law enforcement. So insane. It's so scary, man. That's why I just don't understand. The only place in Mexico that I would go would be Mexico City. I feel like that's like a metropolis. But if I'm in the outskirt area or any area where I got to really worry about cartel, dude, I can't imagine getting on a flight to those places. And I mean, I'll probably go at some point, but it's just like, again, I don't expect people to feel bad for me. If I go to Mexico and I'm doing YouTube and I'm streaming, walking down the streets, and somebody's like, hey, Cassius got kidnapped, dude. Well, what happened? Well, he was in Mexico live streaming with a gimbal and a phone and microphones off the resort. They're not going to say, oh my God, that's tragic. They're going to say, checks out. Sounds about right. Is that how I want to go out, dude? Like, no. I don't want to go out like that. I'd rather go out. I can't believe something happened to him. Where he was so safe. I have no fucking clue. Let's look at a video. Let me see. Look at some cartel stuff. Oh my God, I can't fucking type with one finger. Mexico cartel. Yeah, this one's crazy. Where they pull people over in the streets and shit. Like, this is so scary, man. This is so scary.
It's the cartel.
Hang Hang on a second. I don't think we can see that very well. Let me play that again. See, this is crazy.
It's the cartel. Yeah.
Sylvia, stop bitching or I'm going to put you on mute. Nobody has a problem with you in the chat. Nobody's causing issues but you. Stop your whining or you're going to be kicked. I don't want to hear this shit. You're throwing off the vibes in the chat. I'm not feeling it. Let me see. Hold on. Mexico cartel. I feel like a lot of people don't get away with videos of them because they probably just get killed. Like, there's not a whole lot of videos of them actually in action because they probably just shoot you in the face. And that's like the end of the interaction. Remember these two dudes? Guys, remember the two guys? These two guys who got pulled over? I'll just let the video play in case you can't remember. These poor fucks, man.
Behind us. What way should I go? Straight or right? That's not right. I guess straight? I don't know either. Just pick one. I'm gonna pick straight. Bike on this road, so there must be civilization.
This is like a Family Guy skit, by the way. It's like a cutaway.
Looks like there's a town up here, or a little village. The car behind us is kind of scaring me how fast they're going. I know, they're going quick. It's not scaring me. It's scaring me because what if they're speeding up on us to rob us or something?
But why are you driving in places you don't know in Mexico? What are you doing?
They probably just drove this road lots of times.
So they get pulled over.
Oh my God, they have guns. Jesus, Jesus.
Go, 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 go,
no, 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 please, 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 what? Please, please, please. Please, what?
I know it's old. We're just playing it. It's a funny ass video. Some videos you don't skip.
Please, what? No Espanol, please. We're just.
No problem. You will.
Por favor.
¿Dónde vas?
They're so scared. See, this is how scared I am when I picture going there. That's why I don't book the ticket.
Hey,
Please.
No problem, okay?
I'm about to pass out.
Problem, okay? No problem.
Logan, don't. It's okay,
Oh,
it's okay,
hey.
it's okay.
No problem, okay? What? You will.
Can we go?
Well done.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
These poor guys were so scared. Sylvia, I'm not American. I've never lived in America. I don't live in North America. So chill. Just chill out, man. We're just trying to watch some videos. Just calm down, man. God damn. I'm about to drink some caffeine. Maybe I got a pipe. I'm trying to open it with one hand. Maybe I got to pipe up and match the energy in the chat. I got to stop drinking this stuff, dude. This is, so in Thailand, they don't do the fizzy energy drinks. They do, basically like just the syrup from the energy drinks in like a shot, which is probably really bad for your health. I don't know if people realize, but the original Red Bull actually was created in Thailand, and the original Red Bull didn't have any fizz. So these are the drinks that like we drink here. And I like this brand. The locals like this brand. I'm not signed to them or anything. Do I have an American accent, by the way? I see that a lot. Gabriel says you have an American accent. Guys, okay, if you guys didn't know me, would you think I was American? See, I've always, to be fair, I won't tell you guys what country I'm in. Some of you guys know already. But I will say I've always felt very at home in America when I do go there. Like when I'm in New York City and I'm in places like that, I feel very much connected to a lot of the people there. So I'll give you guys that. Damn, you guys think I'm American? Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll take it. I've been to America a couple times. Not many times. I sound like I grew up there? Wow. Well, I grew up on America, guys. I grew up on America. I grew up on Howard Stern. I grew up on Kiss. I grew up on Americana. That's what I grew up on. All of the broadcasters that I looked up to, the radio guys that I looked up to, they're Americans. You actually have no accent at all. I don't feel like I have an accent. I don't even know where am I from? Somebody in here has to be a repeat viewer that knows where I'm from. Where did I learn English? That's my native language, dude. What do you mean learn English? Okay, cheers, guys. We'll get back to the stories here. Your life and your diet is so much better in Thailand than any other place. Oh, dude, 100%. Man, when I first came out to Thailand, I immediately lost a lot of weight. And I had so many people from back home messaging me, you look so good, you look so much better than you did before. And I was like, wow, you guys should have told me I look like shit. But once I passed that, I was actually happy. The food in Thailand is pretty healthy. I mean, they have a lot of seed oils that they use. That's the one negative about it. You can eat quite unhealthy in Thailand if you want to, but there's a lot of good options. I would say that the healthiest food in Southeast Asia is definitely in Vietnam. The food is packed with nutrients, but it's also not super heavy. So you can eat pho, you can eat, bun cha, you can eat banh mi. It's nutritious food, keeps you full for a good amount of time, but you're never bloated, you're never swollen. So I would say if you want healthy food, probably the best place in Southeast Asia is Vietnam, but you'll probably have to eat a little bit more to stay more full. That's the one thing I would say. I'm from Canada, guys. I'm from Canada. Yeah, the big reveal. Traitor, 51st state. I met an American the other night, and he was like, what state are you from? And I said, oh, you did that on purpose. Hey, 51st state. 51st state. I can take a joke. Okay, so we have a couple videos that I wanted to look at. Let's take a look at these now. You guys are funny tonight, man. I look like an elbow. I look like an elbow of macaroni. That doesn't make any sense, dude. What part of Thailand am I in? All over the place. Right now I'm in Bangkok. I'm in a super residential area right now. I will actually have to show you guys. I'll make a video of the area I'm staying, because I'm leaving this hotel tomorrow. So now I'll make a video and show you guys where I've been staying at. Let's take a look at a couple Vietnam videos and stuff. Just since I'm out here, I wanted to look at some of these. So this dude's been doing some really good interviews. Shout out to this guy, Nick Vlogs. So he asked a woman in Vietnam, how much do you need to date a Vietnamese lady as a foreigner? This is a great question. And I have an idea in mind, but I'm very curious to hear what the actual woman says. Let's take a look.
Foreigner wants to date you. How much should he make so you feel comfortable dating him per month?
Per month? Pretty specific. Because I would say for me it's around 50 million Vietnam dong. Yeah.
So with 50 million Vietnamese dong, you would feel comfortable dating someone like that? If a foreigner wants to...
So $2,000 for months worth of dating is what she says in Vietnam. I mean, $2,000 in Vietnam. Yeah, I would say you can get away with dating for quite a while. Here's the thing about dating in Vietnam. The women that you will date in Vietnam are not going to accept you not spending money on them. It's not necessarily a situation of them being overly materialistic. It's not necessarily a situation of them being money hungry. From what I understand, the way that women are raised in Vietnam, at least the girls I've dated out there, are raised that the man is there to take care of them. So essentially what you're doing when you're dating a woman in Vietnam, you're stepping into as much, this is kind of weird to say, as much as you're stepping into a romantic relationship role, you're also stepping into like a caretaking role as a man, almost like a paternal role. This is just the facts. It is kind of strange. These girls basically want to be taken care of, almost like an extension of what their family would do for them. So a Vietnamese girl, like if you guys are trying to date in Southeast Asia, you can go, I would say the girls in Vietnam, the women in Vietnam are probably the most beautiful in Southeast Asia. I'm not going to lie. Absolutely beautiful, stunning women in Vietnam. Everywhere you turn, everywhere you go, there's beautiful women. It's unbelievable. But if you're going to date these women, a lot less of a hookup culture. It's going to take a lot more time to gain their trust and earn their trust. That's the thing about Vietnam. People in general are very kind, but it sometimes is not going to be the first or second meeting that you gain their trust. Maybe the third or fourth meeting. You're going to have to break bread. You're going to have a drink. You're going to have the conversations. Vietnamese aren't going to open up to you in 2 seconds here. So that's what I would say. Look, I'm just dropping a bit of game for anybody who it may concern. If you're trying to date in Vietnam, bring money and be ready to spend. But you got to know when to cut it off too. Guys, I went down the rabbit hole with the one girl. I dated a girl in Vietnam probably for like 3 months. It lasted about 3 months because I got sick of it. But the reason it got cut off is because I stopped saying yes, bro. This girl wanted me to pay her credit card debt. This girl wanted me to pay for her groceries, not just food with me, food at home too. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to do that. Now, mind you, the credit card debt, I could have literally taken a girl out of debt for like $200. It was nothing for me. I could take a girl out of debt in that city for $200. But one, I'm not a trick. I'm not the dude who's going to be doing that. And also, I don't want a relationship that's built off of that. But I'm telling you guys facts. You guys would be surprised the type of shit I've been through out here. Oh my goodness, man.
Hello, em đẹp hoa. Em đẹp hoa. No problem. Em đẹp hoa.
Hả?
Em đẹp hoa.
Em đẹp hoa.
Boom. Em đẹp hoa. No problem, bye.
I don't know what this guy's doing. Let's see. Thai Locals explains why it's difficult for Thai women to find a man. This is interesting.
Population 70 million. 58% for lady. 10% for what? Lady boy. Yeah. 5% more for what? Buddhism. A monk, when he learned meditation long time, don't want to marry. 5% more for what? Army. 21 years old, Thai man. You have citizen who must to have army 2 years. Real man only 30%. I am also single because difficult for find man. Can you find Philippines for me?
Yeah. So that really explains the dating situation in Thailand. A lot of dudes who are pitching for the other team, a lot of dudes turning into ladyboys. And there's a pretty small percentage of actual just, you know, straight men who are trying to actually go out there. That's what explains the success for a lot of people in the dating market in Thailand. The one thing you hear about Thailand is that average looking dudes will come here and they'll end up with really attractive women. I would say that there's not as much truth to that as maybe you might think, because a lot of these guys pay for it. I don't relate to that world. I don't pay for shit. The second people want me to start paying, I leave. But the thing is, you will see a lot of pretty average looking dudes with pretty attractive women in Thailand because of this. Because of exactly this. A lot of gay dudes here, a lot of lady boys, competition's a lot lower, you can go there. But you got to know when you're getting used. And I'm seeing in the chat here a lot of people really surprised. A lot of people are surprised by the story I just told about Vietnam. Don't be a simp. I wasn't being a simp. Yeah, that's why I left. Lame. It's not lame, dude. It's the way that they are. 3 months and you couldn't have given her $200 for debt. You could have. But dude, here's the thing. I could give a girl $200 for debt, but I'm not going to give a girl $200 because my dignity is not worth $200, bro. That's the thing. If I ever feel like, and look, I've seen it out here. I've seen men literally be used as human ATMs out here. There is no such limit. I heard a very good quote from a divorce lawyer one time. Somebody had put it out there in an interview. He said he never met a woman who thought she got too much when it comes to money. So that's really the rule of thumb. You'll never meet a woman, especially in Southeast Asia, who feels that she's gotten too much. So you got to be very, very careful. You got to be careful. You got to know who's using you, who's not using you. But yeah, look, man, it's one of those weird situations. I was out of my element. For me, I want a woman who's going to come and help me build the castle. See, I'm a work in progress myself. I'm trying to build a content empire. I'm trying to become one of the next big creators out here. The people who are tuned in with me now, like they're on the wave as it grows, but I haven't popped off in a huge way yet to where I need to be. If I was going to date right now, I would want it to be with somebody who's here for me to build the castle. Help me build the castle. Be by my side while I build the castle. Not expect all of the riches and rewards of somebody with a castle built. So I hate to go on a tangent, guys. I do. This is just a little bit of side tangent. Somebody says, how much money do you need to have? I mean, if you want to have a couple months of fun, just save a couple $1,000s and you can come to Asia and have a couple months of fun. You're going to get in trouble when you run out of money, though. I work my ass off and my son and my man stays home to watch our son. There you go. You need an American woman? I don't date American women, man. I'm good on that. Guys, I'm not dating right now at all, and I don't think this is even that interesting of a topic. We're going to move on, but I'm not dating at all. I'm in a weird situation right now, and this is the last thing I'll say. I'm not very enthused by hookup culture at the moment. I've had a nice run. I'm not very enthused by the random hookups at this point. I would much rather have a steady dating scenario. And when I'm traveling the world, I can't date. I've tried to date women in a real way out here, and it's almost so irresponsible because I'm boarding a flight to another country in 2 weeks. You can meet the love of your life, but it's inevitably never going to work. You're just wasting each other's time. So I'm at a point now where I'm not dating, dude. I have had so many things come my way the past couple of weeks. Girls want to meet up. I don't want to meet you. I don't want to do nothing, dude. Just stay away from me. I want to sit in a room and make content. I want to sit in a room and work, because when I sit in a room and work, that brings me money. And when I make money, I don't have to live outside on the streets and I can feed myself. So that's what I want to do. I don't want to meet you. I don't want to sit with you. I don't want to talk to you. I went out with friends the other night, and my buddy was in shambles. I love this guy, by the way. I know he watches the channel. He was in shambles. Dude, you got to go meet people. You got to go talk to people. You got to put yourself out there, man. I'm sitting at the jazz club. I'm watching the show. I'm not talking to nobody. I don't want to talk to. Listen, I've talked enough. I don't need to talk to nobody.
Should I make per month in baht to live a good life in Bangkok?
50,000.
I'm not sure about 50,000.
Yeah.
50,000 baht per month.
Yeah.
Guys, it is scaring the shit out of me. It is scaring the shit out of me. You guys don't know what I've been through out here. All I'll say is this. Listen, I keep trying to move on. You guys aren't letting me move on. So all I'll say is this. Hookups are cool until you have to pay the consequences for having strangers in your house. Until you have to pay the consequences for trusting strangers. Until you have to pay the consequences for allowing people you don't really know into your orbit in a personal way. It's not worth it. I've had a lot of strange experiences. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done with this now. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but we've had enough. After the third pregnancy scare, guys, it's like we have enough. It's enough. I don't need to be around nobody. Let's try to focus here.
How much should I make per month in baht to live a good life in Bangkok?
50,000.
I'm not sure about 50,000.
Yeah.
50,000 baht per month.
Yes.
1,500 USD a month. Yeah, she's on the money. To live in Thailand, I would say 1,500 US dollars a month to live in Thailand. Yeah. That's a good budget. The thing with Bangkok is that it can be such a cheap city, but it can be such an expensive city as well. That's the most challenging part about it. I heard a guy say this on a podcast recently, and it really hit home for me. He spent a lot of money trying to save money by coming to Bangkok because depending on the lifestyle that you have, depending on where you like to eat and what you like to do, you could easily burn through a budget in days. I mean, you could burn through thousands of dollars in a couple of days in Bangkok, easy. You could also live off $2,000 in Bangkok for a whole month. But it depends on the experience that you're looking for. That's really what I would say. Bangkok can be just as expensive as New York or LA if you're going to the right places. Or it can be just as cheap as, a place in rural Vietnam. That depends how much street food you want to eat. That depends what type of entertainment venues you want to go to. That depends if you need that dinner. If you need that bag, if you need that watch, there's a lot of stuff you can buy. But 1,500 USD, that's a pretty, I'd say you live a good life.
Yes.
And you as well.
Yes.
How much should I make per month in baht to live a good life in Bangkok?
50,000.
I'm not sure about 50.
Damn, you guys are giving me the third degree. Listen, I'm supposed to be the interviewer. You guys are out here asking me all these questions in the chat. I'm supposed to be the interviewer. Come on, guys. Don't do me dirty right now. One more video since we're on the topic. Since people seem interested, one more video. Because I feel like I need to start watching these videos and reacting to them because I've been living out here for a year now. So I can tell you guys what's true and what's not true. The budget videos so far are true. What's going on with this one? Yeah, let me see. Hold on a second.
Most Thai people like foreigner.
Foreigner?
Yeah.
Why?
Like you.
Why?
You handsome.
Thank you.
Like you. She just shoots her shot right in the middle of the video, bro. I respect. She wasted no time. We like foreigners, like you. Damn, girl.
Most Thai people like foreigner.
Foreigner?
Yeah.
Why?
Like you.
Why?
You handsome.
Thank you.
And in Thailand, there are no handsome people like you.
真的? Really?
And,
what do you mean? There is beautiful Thai guy here. Handsome Thai too, no?
Thai men are handsome. It is in different way. You handsome. Most.
That's a crazy thing to say about your own country, though. There's no attractive men in my own country. I mean, yeah, I think that there's probably, here's the thing. The dating market in Thailand, I think, is more so skewed towards foreigners. If you were to compare Thailand and Vietnam, for example, I would say in Vietnam, there is a much higher rate of Vietnamese women dating and marrying Vietnamese men. They're a lot more traditional in that sense. I think it's very much more expected. And the dating market in Vietnam for foreigners, I think, is more multi-layered and a bit more challenging. The barrier of entry is a bit higher, but you might get higher reward as well. In Thailand, it's more so skewed towards Westerners. It's more so skewed towards maybe not so impressive men, not so impressive Westerners, maybe older Westerners. So I would say the standard in Thailand for foreigners is lower. And also some of the standards in general are lower too. Like the beauty standards in Thailand are lower than a place like Vietnam. Vietnam, very, very high. Very high beauty standards, very high financial standards. You can do well as a foreigner in Vietnam, but that's not the place that you go until you have it together. Go to Thailand if you want to date while you're broke and figuring it out, and go to Vietnam if you want to date when you got your shit together. That's ultimately what I could tell you guys. So that's that. Figured we'd react to some of those. There was one more article I had too. There was one more. Let me see. This goes with one of my predictions that I made. So I made a video a couple of months ago saying that within 5 years, Vietnam was going to overtake Thailand as the superpower of Southeast Asia. Now, the Bangkok Post is currently reporting that this is set to happen in a lot less than 5 years, and my prediction was actually right. This report here says Thailand is losing ground to Vietnam. The report here suggests that Vietnam's GDP is likely to catch up with Thailand's within 2 years, not 5, unless the latter undertakes meaningful economic reforms. So it's talking about how the Thai GDP is around 500 billion at the moment, while Vietnam's is rapidly climbing and is currently sitting at over 400 billion. So foreign and direct investment and export values are higher in Vietnam than Thailand. We're seeing them strike up new deals with countries such as China and Russia. We're also seeing them strike up new deals with the United States. In terms of education, apparently Ho Chi Minh City is ranked with having some of the top universities in the world, top 500 educational facilities. It says Thailand has slightly better education. But ultimately, man, this is what I predicted months ago, and I completely concur with this assessment. Vietnam is resourceful. Vietnam is a place where they're always coming up with the next thing. Thailand is a place that is a well-oiled machine with a lot of systems in place that are working, but these systems are just getting them by. So the tourism sector, nightlife, restaurants, this is a system that's not broke, so why fix it? Well, the reason you try to improve it and fix it is to increase your GDP, is to increase tourism, is to increase finances in those sectors, in those departments. So Thailand is basically in a scenario where they've been doing it a certain way for a long time and it's been working, but it's working at a steady pace and it's not helping their country grow. Vietnam, on the other hand, is, let me take that again. Vietnam, on the other hand, is doing something similar. They're improving on what they've been doing already, but they're looking for the next thing. Vietnam is not looking to repeat the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. They're looking to become a completely unrecognizable nation compared to what they've been before. And that, to me, is the difference between Thailand and Vietnam when it comes to their tourism. It basically remained the same for a long time and will likely remain very much the same in the coming years. Whereas the other, Vietnam, is drastically different to what it was, and in 2 to 5 years from now will continue to look even more drastically different. So always good to see my predictions coming true. Appreciate you guys joining the stream. We talked about a lot of cool stuff tonight. We talked about cool stuff. I mean, a lot of crazy stuff, some cool stuff. Shout out to my boy Psycho in the chat. Free Iran, free everybody, dude. Free everybody from the billionaire elites. Free everybody from the reptile pedos, the Satanists, the devil worshippers, the child eaters. Burn them all at the stake. I don't endorse violence, but theoretically, metaphorically, burn them all at the stake. I'm on my kumbaya shit tonight. End all the wars. Fuck them all. So yeah, guys, it's a fun stream. I'm going to start talking more. I don't want to overdo it. You guys give me feedback. If you don't like it, just tell me. I'm going to start talking more, though, about some of this stuff happening in Thailand and Vietnam. I feel like I'm living out here. I'm trying to find more ways to make it involved in my content. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I can actually talk about. Let's go to one more story about, just to wrap it up with an Epstein story, because I know a lot of people joined to hear about Epstein. And thank you. I appreciate you, Lindsay, for saying that. I appreciate that. One more Epstein story to tie it back together. So Lady Victoria Hervey, I don't know who this woman is supposed to be. Another woman in the UK who thinks she's important. I believe she was the ex-girlfriend of Prince Andrew, so she thinks she's somebody now. I mean, you really got to be down bad. You really got to be down bad, by the way, to be clout chasing off of your pedophile ex-boyfriend. If that's what's keeping you relevant in the media space, I think you should really be taking a look in the mirror. Nonetheless, this is what she's doing, and this obviously is working for her. But she took to Piers Morgan to yet again attack the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, yet again discredit the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and even go as far to say that Virginia Giuffre, who, by the way, was probably one of the worst victims of Epstein, I mean, it's not a contest, but she certainly, she didn't get away with her life. She's no longer with us anymore due to a very convenient suicide. Very, very convenient suicide in the light of this fallout. This woman says, well, she wasn't a victim at all. It's completely made up, and all of the photo evidence and video evidence and written evidence that we've seen, well, it's all fake. It's not to be believed. Let's take a listen to this shocking tape here from Piers Morgan.
Piers, come on.
It is a real photo. Ghislaine Maxwell confirmed it.
We had
in
this.
the
Piers, 1 second.
It's confirmed.
We had this conversation 2 weeks ago, and I said that was a draft statement done by her PR, and it was never used.
This is the problem, though. This is the problem. You're not going to believe anything that disproves your bonkers theory that this is all some great stitch-up.
Listen to me 1 second. Why would Ghislaine lie to the DOJ? Ghislaine told the DOJ and in that prison interview there are over 50 things wrong with that photo. Why would she lie to the DOJ when she's trying to get out of jail? She's not going to do that.
We've literally seen in their own words in the files the picture's genuine, and that they had a sexual relationship.
Listen.
You still have your blinkers on. You don't want to believe it.
And
my advice to you is there's going to be a point with this where you have to stop trashing these victims. I'm just giving you some advice as someone who's known you a long time. Victim trashing in this and protecting the villains, whether it's Epstein, whether it's Andrew, whether it's whatever. There comes a point when reality has to hit fantasy world, and I think we've hit that point.
Virginia was a fake victim.
Right, she wasn't a fake victim.
She was a fake victim.
And the way you go after her, I find repellent.
My apologies. My apologies, chat. Big ass fucking bug. I had to get rid of that. Yeah, so I mean, look, this is what she said. I already saw the clip earlier, this one, so I didn't have to sit and watch it with you guys. But absolutely shocking. And to me, one of the wildest things about this whole Epstein scandal, and this is a stretch, by the way. It's bad when this is one of the wildest things because there's a lot of wild things about this. Thank you, Callow. I appreciate it. One of the wildest aspects about this whole scenario is just how many women are actually protecting these pedophiles. How many women are actually coming out and denying what the victims are saying. Maybe I was buying into an idea or a narrative that's not actually true. You know, I was buying into this narrative that women are supposed to support women and protect women. That's the narrative that we're always sold. You know, that's the story that we're told. We're told that women are there for each other. Women are supposed to believe each other. You don't blame the victims. You believe the survivors. That's what we're told. But then again, I've always seen a different side of many women in many scenarios. You know, I've seen a lot of women be catty against each other. I've seen a lot of women not support each other. I've seen a lot of women actually tear each other down more than they lift each other up, even more than men tear them down. And I'm starting to think that that might be their actual nature in many cases. Because what we're seeing now is this exactly playing out. Instead of seeing women like Pam Bondi or Lady Victoria Hervey or any of these women who are, by the way, in positions of power and affluence, instead of seeing them rushing out to support the alleged victims, what we're seeing is these sort of pick-me women rushing out to be accepted by the abusers and to actually down and dog these women who are alleged survivors and keep making cases as to why their stories aren't true. Pretty shocking. You know, in this whole Me Too, I mean, maybe we're out of the woke era now. I'm starting to think we're officially out of it. I guess in the time of the Me Too and all this stuff, this may have been more shocking. Maybe we're out of that era. You know, I do think we're kind of out of the woke era. It's not hitting the same anymore. People are kind of realizing it's all bullshit. People are realizing that a lot of it is abstract ideas and concepts that aren't actually applied. You know, or maybe when applied, they don't really make sense or work as well as you think they would. You know, a lot of the wokeism, it's nice in concept. The idea is fun. You know, the idea that borders are man-made constructs and they don't actually exist and everybody's a citizen of the world, it's a fun thought. I mean, you know, it is. It's a nice idea if we could live in some sort of utopia, but once applied, it doesn't work. You know, the idea that all of these things, it's just they're nice abstract concepts, but they don't work. It's just a shame to see. Ultimately, it's pretty shocking, the state of things. It's pretty shocking to see where people's priorities are at. It's pretty shocking to see who's protecting who and for what. And who's getting thrown under the bus and for what. We're living in a time where the demons and the pedophiles are all being praised and rewarded and living lavish in gold castles. And the victims are starving in the street, dying of convenient suicide in the midst of investigations. Maybe this is the way it always was. You could make a case for that. The elites have always had their way and the everyday folk have always suffered. Maybe there's a case to be made for that, but I don't think it's ever been illustrated on this level. I don't think it's ever been apparent to the level that it is today. But then again, maybe we have to blame ourselves. Maybe we have to blame ourselves that we're not really reacting or we're not having the adequate reaction. All this time that people spent trying to prove that these allegations were true, well, now we've proven it. But now what do we have? What's come from it? Not much. 2 guys in the UK have been arrested. That's a good start, but there's no arrests in America. Trump is sitting comfy in the White House, not arresting anybody. All the handlers and the whistleblowers, they're still out there probably working on the next island. Of which, by the way, I'm sure there's many. I mean, it's... Where do we go? Chat, where do we go? I appreciate you guys, brother. Brother, I don't know why I went Hulk Hogan there. Lindsay, you're a bit behind in the stream, but I appreciate you being here. When you catch up to the stream, you're like an hour behind. You'll see me giving you a shout out. I'm reading what you're saying. I'm not ignoring you. I hate when people watch like they're watching 30 minutes behind and then they think I'm ignoring them in the chat when I'm not. That's a pet peeve of mine. We have one more clip from Piers. Let's go to the clip of Epstein's brother. Who, by the way, can this guy just fuck off? I mean, I could have used a much more graceful, phrase for that. But can this Mark Epstein guy just get the fuck out of my life and everybody's life for 2 seconds? Trying to be righteous when you're the brother of a pedophile. You're so righteous that he didn't kill himself. I mean, frankly, he should have killed himself. The guy was a monster. I mean, for all the conversation that Epstein didn't kill himself, frankly, I wouldn't have minded if he did. I mean, we don't need a guy like that around. But this Mark Epstein guy, this brother, Epstein's brother. Okay, shout out Lindsay, we're back. This guy, Epstein's brother, trying to involve himself and get media attention and not showing his face. So annoying, so weird. Let's play this clip. And part of me feels like it's Epstein, by the way, if he's not dead, but that's a whole conspiracy. I'm not going to go there yet. So he actually stormed out. He was on the phone. He hung up on this interview with Piers Morgan after being asked one simple question. Do you feel any sympathy for the victims of your brother, Jeffrey Epstein? Piers, pretty fair question from Piers. He acknowledges that it's his brother. He acknowledges all of the circumstances around that, but still wants to get to the heart of the one simple question, which is, do you have any remorse, any feelings whatsoever for the victims? This question does not sit well with Mark Epstein, whoever this individual is. I don't even know if they're who they say they are. And he hung up on Piers. Let's take a listen to the clip right now.
What is life for you like as the brother of perhaps the most notorious person in America?
Well, my life is fine. I'm just getting a lot more calls from journalists and ask for, these kind of interviews. And I've told people I only talk about Jeffrey's death because I found that when I answer questions about anything else in the files, whatever I say gets misconstrued to fit somebody's agenda. So I no longer answer questions about the things in the files, which I really, to be honest, don't care about. I wasn't part of any of that.
Oh, well, that's good. You don't care. Well, that's good. Look, all these people were assaulted. Multiple lives were ruined. We got to the bottom of one of the biggest child trafficking operations in modern day history, but Mark doesn't care. Well, good. Good to know, Mark. Any other useful information you'd like to share with us tonight? I mean, fuck this guy. You got the balls to call a show and tell people you don't care? Fuck this dude.
Misconstrued to fit somebody's agenda. So I no longer answer questions about the things in the files, which I really, to be honest, don't care about. I wasn't part of any of that.
Oh, good.
I'm not named in anything. And, and if anyone's in the files or something that's supposed to be getting into trouble for something, I have nothing to do with that. That's their problem, not mine. I don't want to be cold about it, but I have my own life. Look, trust me, it would have been a lot easier for me if I thought Jeffrey committed suicide. I could have then, mourned my brother and went on with my life. But instead, I'm
right. But when you say, yeah, sure. But when you say you don't care about the files, I mean, I presume you mean because you're not directly accused of wrongdoing in them, which is completely correct, and you shouldn't have to justify something that doesn't involve you. However, your brother is obviously, there's so much stuff in these files which exposes him as an appalling human being. My question for you would be, how much of this is new to you? I mean, do you even recognize
well, like I said, a lot
you're
of it's
seeing
new to
from
me,
your
but
brother?
Jeffrey and I were not. I didn't see him for 7 years before he died. Although we were always in communication with phones and emails, so I didn't know what he was up to. A lot of the stuff that's come out is surprising to me.
You were always in communication by phone and email, but you didn't know what he was up to. Well, first of all, where's all those emails? That's the first question. Do we have access to this in the Epstein files? He says he was never named in the Epstein files. Why is there no record of all these phone calls and emails? 7 years of phone calls and emails with no record? That's the first red flag. Second red flag, if you're communicating with him every day, why do you not know what's happening? Doesn't sound like he was that good at hiding his life, and frankly, it didn't sound like he needed to hide much from the people around him. What's the deal with that?
Emails. So I didn't know what he was up to. A lot of the stuff that's come out is surprising to me. I wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to say, like, with him, even though he's my brother, that was his problem. And now that he's dead, it's not his problem anymore. So again, unfortunately, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I'm just concerned that my brother, whoever and whatever he was murdered. That's my concern.
But you care about the victims, I presume, of your brother.
These are the questions I don't get into. Have a good day.
Wow.
Okay. Well, extraordinary. Not a difficult question.
What a
to
coward. What a pathetic, slimy little coward. I hope this motherfucker gets dragged in to get investigated. We should investigate this piece of shit. My brother died. I don't care how many people he killed. Fuck you. Excuse me. Your brother, you mean the guy who was dissolving bodies in vats of acid and chemicals? Or was it the guy with the sex island? Wait, the same brother with the chemicals in the island who also had like gaping devices to abuse people and who had women cruising around middle schools to pick up like, which brother are we talking about? That same brother? Which brother are we talking about, dude? This dude's out of his mind. This, and again, I don't understand this. Andrew's ex, Epstein's brother. Why are these people going on a press run because they're related to pedophiles? Like, how down bad do you have to be to literally be on a press run that you knew the world's most prolific ped? I don't. Is that a career booster? What are we doing? How is this supposed to help anybody find anything out? You have no interest in talking about what happened. You have no interest in helping us figure out what the fuck is going on, who Jeffrey Epstein was, how he made his money, how he had all this power over influential people. You have no interest in helping us with any of this. You just want to say, well, my brother was killed. I should hope he was. He was a bastard. In fact, he probably had one too many days here on Earth with us. And you expect sympathy from me? You gotta be fucking crazy. I mean, I don't understand how these people's minds work. I can't wrap my mind around it. The only explanation I could have is that they think we're stupid, guys. They actually genuinely think we are stupid. And like I said before, a lot of people out there are pretty stupid. A lot of people out there are pretty stupid. I mean, I meet a lot of stupid people. Maybe it's because I spend a lot of time at hostels. To be fair, we're not meeting the best and brightest when we're at a hostel. Half the people I meet nowadays don't even do anything. They have no interest. They have nothing. I'll meet people, not to go on another tangent, but I'll meet people out here when I go to meet the general public. I've given up now, like I mentioned before. But when I go to meet people, I'll try to be a human, and I'll try to play along. And I'll meet somebody at a hostel, and I'll say, so, what do you do? Oh, nothing. People will look at you comfortably, without shame, and tell you to your face that they do nothing, and they don't even have a problem with it. You know, half the people out here, their minds are empty. Half of these people you meet in the world. So when I actually go out and start meeting random people, I'm like, it actually makes sense why the elites think we're dumb, because a lot of us are pretty stupid. And it's not to be insulting to people. And it's not that I'm some genius either. But I'm smarter than these people. That much I know. But, I blame the people. I blame the people who say, well, why would the government lie to you? Everything about this is a conspiracy theory. Those are the dumb people I'm talking about. I'm no PhD, but I'm smarter than them. And anybody watching this stream is smarter than them. So I blame those guys. I blame the people, the same people I will meet at the hostel who tell me, I don't do anything. I'm not even a student. I just travel. How the fuck do you travel? I work. That's how I travel. How the fuck do you... I meet all these people who are unemployed in Thailand. How the fuck do you manage to be unemployed in Thailand? You're not unemployed. Somebody's paying for your shit. People ask me, how do you afford to travel so much? I work just like the rest of you. I'm not one of these trust fund babies or these people who just somehow have all the... I don't know how these people do this. That's not me. I work just like you work. I don't know how these motherfuckers pull it off. Anyway, if you guys can't tell, my heart's starting to pump off this. I drank almost the whole thing. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Usually we're at about 2 hours of the stream. Usually this is where I start to calm down. But I had no caffeine in me. One Americano. I did have one Americano before this. So now we're off one Americano and one energy shot, which is basically taurine and bull semen. I don't know what they put in these. Boom, 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 boom. What else do we got? You know it's real when I hit you with the zoom in. You know I'm about to drop something crazy when I zoom in. That's when you know it's over. Oh yeah, we did see this earlier. So El Muncho, new evidence is emerging around well-known influencer Maria Jalusa. Well-known to who? Never heard of her. It says reports point to an alleged connection and betrayal linked to the drug trade and now the deceased cartel boss El Mencho. Dude, how are you dating an OnlyFans girl if you're supposed to be a boss? Now, I don't want to get myself killed by the cartel, so I'm not going to talk about the cartel. That's probably wise, right? On a live stream, maybe just kind of... I'm not going to talk about the cartel. Let's talk about somebody else. Let's maybe not put his picture. I'm never going to go to Mexico now after this shit. Let's talk about somebody else. So let's say that you're a big boss in the music business. How are you a boss if you're dating a whore? Just to like literally, how are you supposed to be respected? Because to be a boss, you're supposed to be respected. How can I, as a man, respect you if I can see your wife's pussy on the internet? How am I supposed to respect you as a man? How am I supposed to look at you for anything? Look to you for anything. You have the epitome of power. You have unlimited wealth. You could meet a good woman. You could meet a quality woman. And you're dating an OnlyFans girl. I don't care how rich or powerful you are. The second I find out you're dating a porn star, I lose all respect for you. Because you have unlimited resources and you're digging in the trash for gold. And you don't even find gold. You find fake gold-plated gold. Bottom of the barrel. A true boss should be dating a woman who works at the library, who holds it down, who dresses classy, who's sweet, polite, and cooks. Why the fuck would I want to date a woman who spreads her legs for a living on the internet when I'm a high-value individual? I'm the prize. I'm the breadwinner in the situation. You think I'm going to lower myself to dating an OnlyFans model? You're not a boss if you date an OF girl. Cam girl, any girl in that category, you are not a boss. You're a simp. You're a rich simp. And this is proof that money cannot unlame you, bro. Money cannot unlame you. All these dudes who are rich with these OnlyFans models, They're just as embarrassing as the broke dudes who are paying her bills, who are the monthly subscribers. Just as bad. Lois, you made it to work. Thanks for coming back, Lois. My caffeine's kicking in. Okay. What do we look at? Is there anything else? I'm still curious what Trump's going to do about this Mexico thing. I really want to see what the outcome is going to be. I don't think he's actually commented on this yet, has he? I mean, because I have a feeling something's bubbling up with Mexico. What has he said? Let's look at Google or something. Like, it's very unusual that Trump hasn't made a statement about this yet. I feel like something's coming because he's quiet. You guys know that when Trump is quiet, something's cooking. Something's cooking. I'm seeing this report that says killing of El Mancho was likely under pressure from the U.S. No way. So he's just going in and it sounds like he's trying to basically do his cartel operation without her permission, without the president's permission. He's asked her 3 to 4 times now if he can step in. I mean, look, after what he's done with Venezuela, I'm no political analyst, but I think he's going to step in and do what he wants.
Now, the White House and Mexican officials confirmed that yesterday's anti-cartel operation was carried out with the help of U.S. intelligence. So, what is the impact of El Mencho's death for the U.S. and beyond? For more on this, we've now reached Elijah Glantz in London. He is a research fellow for the Organized Crime and Policing Team at the Royal United Services Institute. Thank you for making time for us today, Elijah.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's talk about the significance, the wider significance of this operation that was carried out using U.S. intelligence and what has unfolded since.
Absolutely. The use of American intelligence isn't new. This is perhaps a new phase in what has been a 20-year collaboration between the U.S. and Mexico, as well as the U.S. and other countries, such as Colombia in the past, during various iterations of the war on drugs. However, this comes at a time where there have been, let's say, there's been a significant strain on the relationship between Mexico and the United States, namely between President Trump and President Steinbaum. So this operation certainly comes as an interesting step and a very positive step towards tactical cooperation. But strategically and politically, there's still probably much to pass under the bridge between the two countries.
When we do talk about strategically here and politically, as you touched on there, we know that the U.S. president has said that Mexico must step up action against cartels and drugs. And that is something, a message that he has continued to reiterate. So was this carried out in its fashion, sort of in a response to that message from the U.S. president?
Absolutely. I think it's quite clear that this is something that came as a result of pressure. President Steinbaum in Mexico has campaigned and been very clear in the past that the kingpin strategy, as it's known, of removing the leaders of cartels is certainly not her preferred strategy for dealing with Mexico's security crisis. So the fact that they have gone after...
Yeah, it's not her preferred strategy because she doesn't want to be on a stake. Imagine how scared you would be if, like, this woman has to be terrified. Imagine being one woman going up against the entire cartel. Terrifying. Lois, you're going to make me blush. Thank you.
Not only any kingpin, the country's arguably most violent kingpin, is certainly an indication that there's been a change in thinking, or at least amid some pressure. Will this continue? It remains to be seen, but there's certainly a lot of pressure that is pushing the Mexican government towards taking more action.
Crazy. So the Mexican government, I mean, look, here's the thing. They obviously want to beat the cartels. I think they're just legitimately terrified. And I can't blame them. Look, I don't know all the ins and outs of the scenario, but one thing we know, they're scared.
Well, it wasn't meant to be.
Here's Trump talking about, this was his most recent time talking about Mexico and the cartels. This was, is there a date on this? This was right when they invaded Venezuela.
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please.
I wonder who would win in a war. Would it be the cartels? Or would it be, like, let's say they, and again, I don't endorse this. What if they tried to come for Trump? Do you think Secret Service would win or the cartels would win? Like, Trump talks about her being scared. Dude, Trump would be scared too if the cartel was in America. If they had their full operational power in America, see, he's lucky. He doesn't have to deal with that. Cartel can want his head, but they would never touch him, and they don't really have the capability to do so. Scheinbaum is in a different situation. Scheinbaum is in their backyard. That's why I don't fault her for being hesitant at all. I would rather be hesitant and alive than bold and dead. What do they say? The graveyards and the prisons are full of the tough guys, the bold guys, the strong guys. That's kind of the way I see it. Why play tough guy and basically hang yourself? There's got to be a smarter way to go about it. Trump predicted to use force over escalating Mexico cartel violence. Oh, God.
I want to be wrong.
I know tomorrow's stream is going to be crazy. When I come on tomorrow, I know shit's going to be fucking nuts.
The world, Mexico's president is calling for calm after the death of the country's most wanted man, cartel leader El Mencho. He was killed in a Mexico military operation, and that was with the help to say that.
Well, this is one of the worst kept secrets in all of American politics. For decades, we've been under the illusion, and really it is an illusion, that Mexico is actually a functioning country. For instance, back in the 1990s, Bill Clinton signs NAFTA, this free trade agreement between the three large North American countries, Canada, the United States, Mexico. So we've been treating Mexico as a legitimate country, whether it's militarily, diplomatically, economically, for a very long time. Unfortunately, the defining feature of what it means to be a sovereign entity in politics since time immemorial is, do you have a monopoly on the use of force? That to me, thinking about political theory 101, the rule of law, that is the defining question above all. There are some secondary questions. That is the question to define yourself as a sovereign entity. And unfortunately, Mexico, more than arguably any other country in the Western Hemisphere, but certainly considerably more than the United States, Canada, and most other first world countries, flunks that test profusely because they do not have a monopoly on the use of force, because there are rogue, murderous cartels, some of these most murderous, violent groups, not just in the Western Hemisphere, but frankly in all of the world. Organizations that are in cahoots with Lebanese Hezbollah, that have been in cahoots in the past with the Chinese Communist Party. Horrific organizations have indeed had operational control of large swaths, not just small swaths, but large swaths of especially northern Mexico. For really,
shout out Stan. It's such a true point this guy's making, though. We have this concept that Mexico is a functioning nation, and I find it so fascinating that certain nations get a pass for doing the same thing as others because they have basically a better publicist. I don't know what it is about the branding of Mexico, but somehow their branding and their PR has been so on point that people from all over the world actually choose to go there, like we talked about earlier in the stream. People willingly go there. They spend their money to go to this, I don't even know what to call it, struggling nation, corrupt nation. And we act as if there's any boundaries. We act as if there's any police control or government control. I find it interesting that it gets away with that, but other nations that are run in similar ways don't get away with it. You know, Trump loves to speak on countries like Somalia, and, you know, he'll say they don't have a country, it's just people running around shooting each other, and there may be some truth to that. There may be other parts that aren't as true. But the one thing that's for sure is that Mexico is pretty much the same thing. I mean, they don't really have a proper government. If you have it and it doesn't work and it can be overruled, that doesn't really count to me. I find it interesting that he's cool with that. but he wants to shit on countries like Somalia.
Yeah,
he picks and chooses when it's convenient for him.
As far back as I've been following U.S. politics, so this is not a new development. The president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, is a total far leftist. She's essentially a Marxist. And Donald Trump properly has been talking very tough to President Sheinbaum, saying you better get your act in order, because if you don't do so, the United States is going to come in there and we are going to do it for you. For instance, there was this brief intermittent shutdown of the federal airspace over El Paso, Texas, the city in West Texas right on the Mexico border. That was due to some cross-border back and forth due to the cartels there. So I interpret this as Sheinbaum essentially trying to forestall some sort of American action. She has seen what happened in Venezuela with Maduro. She's watching carefully what's happening with Iran and escalating tensions there. She doesn't want Mexico, frankly, to be next there. But it's a reminder, again, I mean, Puerto Vallarta is a very popular tourist destination. I've been as a tourist personally myself there. And seeing these images, these videos on TV of all the billowing black smoke from the cartel violence, it's a really, really, really bad look for Mexico. And it's a stark reminder to the world that they failed the definition of what it means to be a sovereign entity. The good news, the silver lining, is that they got this massive cartel leader. So kudos to that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I could see it happening for sure. Look, there's new videos. There's new videos coming every hour now. Caroline Leavitt puts a notice to Mexican cartels. She's got some cojones, man. Let me tell you. We got a 27-year-old blonde chick sending out a warning to the cartels. What are we doing? See, these people, again, they're very lucky that they are at arm's length from the cartels because they feel very emboldened to talk tough. They got to have good security. She would not be speaking like this if she was in Mexico. I can guarantee it.
Going to be a celebration of the 250th year of America's independence. He is going to share the stories of great American heroes who exemplify bravery and the spirit. Have two great children with her.
All right.
He'll be sharing.
I want to hear about Mexico.
The day before, everybody was telling us how safe Puerto Vallarta is and how this area was really safe. So it's just, I think, an unfortunate, turn of events that apparently a part of Mexico that folks thought was very safe.
You know who tells you Mexico is safe? Dumb people. Because the only people that go to all-inclusive resorts are dumb people. Think about an all-inclusive resort for a second. It's the cheapest, nearest vacation to any shithole of an American city. So if you live in a shithole town in America or Canada, why do you think it's the cheapest, closest place for you to go to an all-inclusive resort? Because they keep you contained in a place where you eat bad food and poison yourself with alcohol and don't go anywhere or do anything else. This is the lowest common denominator of traveler. The people, why do you think it's so expensive to go to a place where you'll actually get something out of it? You go on a Sunwing vacation to an all-inclusive, it costs you $600 for the weekend. You go to take a flight to Thailand from America, it's going to cost you $3,000. Why do you think that is? Because you're actually going to get something from going to Thailand to pour back into yourself, and you'll get nothing from going to an all-inclusive resort. That's why it's so cheap. They want you on that resort. They want you eating bad food. They want you drinking excessive amounts of alcohol to keep you docile, to keep you in your place, and to prevent you from leveling up. Now, it's also a great way to get people to think they're traveling, to feel like they're traveling without actually traveling, because when you're in an all-inclusive resort, you're not traveling. You're basically in an extension of the airport. I've said this before. You're not actually traveling if you're on a resort. So that's why it's so cheap. It's a great way to keep people from actually traveling, actually getting outside of their bubble and realizing North America is pretty much a shithole and a failing nation. Well, it depends which nation. Canada, I would say, is a failing nation. USA is a failing nation. I mean, pretty much all of it's failing. I mean, Mexico is obviously in North America. But I'm talking other resort destinations. It's all the same. Lowest common denominator of travelers.
Across the street is the gas station, and there's cars parked sideways
throughout the road. There's about 6 cars on the road, 4 cars in the road and 2 cars next to the road in the parking lot, and they were all on fire.
You're seeing a war zone behind you, and we've got people come back to the hotel before all this happened saying, do not go out. There's cars on fire. So right then hey, I'm not leaving. I'm stuck here. And there's no way out. They closed the airport. So we're stuck.
Caroline, and it'll cover the New York.
You know they're going to be charged for that, by the way. By the way, guys, remember when you had to shelter in our hotel? That's $250 a night. So, and you guys, I saw you did touch the mini bars. So, going to be a surcharge for that.
War in Paradise. This is all new. It's breaking in 24 hours. What can you tell those people? Can we get them out?
Secretary Rubio and the State Department are absolutely on it. We hear from Americans directly who are in Mexico because the State Department immediately set up 24/7 phone lines, and they're taking hundreds of calls a day, providing Americans on the ground with travel support and advice. The State Department also has issued new travel advisories, and they'll continue to update those as the situation progresses. So we encourage all Americans in Mexico to, of course, adhere to the guidance provided by the State Department. Right now, we are unaware of any reports of any Americans being hurt, kidnapped, or killed, and the Mexican drug cartels know not to lay a finger on a single American, or they will pay severe consequences under this president. And they already are. This operation, which was carried out successfully by the Mexican authorities, was, of course, supported by the United States, would not have happened.
Oh, yeah, so it's over. It's over, guys. We're going in like a drug war, basically, now? Nah, it's a good time to be on the other side of the world, Chad. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I was so right about so many things. It is sickening. It's sickening how right I am. It's truly despicable. Got off the ship before it sank. It started sinking well before I figured it would. Got my shit together, got my money right, got my head right, got my health right, and got the fuck out of there. And now we're watching the whole world burn over there. We're watching the whole shit burn now. I don't want it to burn, but shit, if it's gonna burn, I'd rather watch it from over here. I told you, motherfuckers. I hate to be that guy. I've been telling people, get out. Get the fuck out of America. Get the fuck out of Canada. Don't tell me I didn't try to tell you, bro. Don't tell me I didn't warn you. I don't wish bad on anybody. I don't want to see it happening. But what I've been saying is it is happening. It is happening. So maybe like getting away from the blast radius may be a good idea. I know it's not possible for everybody. Look, I'm in a very, I guess you could call it a privileged scenario. I would call it that. I'm in a very privileged scenario where I'm not married. I work remotely. I don't have kids. So I can go wherever I want. That's the reality of my life. That is not a reality for many, many people. So I think it's almost irresponsible to try to sell that as this is what everybody should be doing. Because really, to be able to pull this off, you got to have a lot of things lined up in your life. Not everybody can just pack up and leave America tomorrow and go to live in a remote country. That's a hard thing to do. So I'm not going to be part of, you know, I've been guilty at times, but I don't want to be part of perpetuating the image that this is easy or that this is what everybody should be doing. There's a lot of good sides. There's a lot of bad sides. I don't think I really talk about the bad sides enough. I talk about the good parts of living in Thailand and living in Vietnam. Let me think. What's the worst thing about living in Thailand? The worst thing about living in Thailand for me, see, it's hard to even think of one, honestly. It's hard to really, I mean, the worst thing, I don't know, that's pretty hard. I got to be able to come up. Let me be, because I feel like I'm not being honest if I can't name one. I think the worst thing about living in Thailand would be the constant rules changing and just kind of feeling like you have a complete lack of control, which you do when it comes to government. I'm not criticizing the government. I have tons of respect for their government. But I feel like you feel very much like you're not included when you think about all the things happening. That's kind of a shitty one, though. Let me think of a better one. I think maybe a downside of living abroad is maybe just some of the lack of familiarity with certain things. I will say the one thing I miss about living back in Canada is that familiarity of certain scenarios. Like, I miss going to big rock concerts. I miss that a lot. I miss going to just things like that. Going to a party where people speak English, but that's all little shit. Honestly, dude. It's all little shit. A tsunami, somebody said? Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. I was thinking, if they have another earthquake in Bangkok, I need to be prepared because nobody expected the first one. So I'm just here chilling. I'm like, I need to brush up on my... I don't know if you... See, I always thought I should run outside if there's an earthquake. Apparently, most people get hurt when they run outside. So I guess it's best to stay inside. Get under that table. What else is there? Is there a couple more? Couple more clips, guys. Just one more clip. 2 more, 3 more. 3 more, please. What do we got? What do we got? This is an Israeli tourist talking negatively about the Thai people. What is this about? What are we doing this for? Why are we coming to people's countries and trashing them? Let's give her a chance.
Be more nice. They're less nice. They always rush in and it doesn't feel good.
You guys speak English? Where are you guys from?
Israel.
Israel. After being here for only 2 days, what are some things you think Thailand can improve on?
They could be more nice. I've been in the Philippines. The Asian people were so nice, like the Philippine young people. Here they're less nice.
Really? That is insane. What particular example or experience can you tell me where Thai people weren't nice?
Thai people, they don't have much, like they always rush in and always getting you to do stuff quickly, do it, and it doesn't feel good.
Like, for example, what, you're walking on the street and people stop you for an interview? Is that what it is?
No, not like that. My friends are going on the taxi stop.
Wow, Thai people are not nice. That is a hot take, honestly. Excuse me.
I love how she couldn't give one specific example, by the way. Oh, Thai people like to do things quickly. Yeah, that's called having a work ethic. That's called knowing how to get things done. If they were doing it too slow, then you'd say, oh, I order my food, they come too slow. Your only complaint is that they do things efficiently. How stupid are these people? This is why I say you need an IQ test before getting a passport. Our world would look so much nicer if we gave an IQ test. If we just did that before giving passports, all of these issues would fade away. No issues with these stupid tourists. But lady, I have to say, I think it's just you. And I can see why it's just you. I have not had this experience with the Thai people. And given your attitude, I can certainly understand why you do. This is a you problem. Honestly, man, Thai people, some of the nicest, like genuinely nicest people I've met. Really hardworking people. People who don't complain. Like, you'll see out here, you'll see guys just go for like a 10, 11, 12-hour workday, breaking their backs in the midday tropical sun, making no money. I mean, they make like 100 baht a day. They make nothing. But they don't complain. They also don't make it your problem. You know, in America, Canada, You go to places, somebody hates their job. You can tell somebody when they hate their job. You can tell when somebody hates their job. They do it with a lack of pride. They do it miserably. They want you to feel that they don't want to be there. You don't get that in Thailand. You don't get that in Thailand. You get people with dignity and honor and respect. Maybe certain countries aren't used to that. Maybe that's not normal in all countries. This woman's been going viral too. I don't even know if I want to make her more viral. This is a perfect example of what not to do in Thailand, okay? If you ever wanted to see it, this is a perfect example of what to never do in Thailand.
We outside, we're not in Honolulu, but we are in Phuket, Thailand, one of the best countries in the entire universe. If you want to experience spirituality, kindness, and believe in humanity again, guys, come to Thailand. Everyone here is so kind and amazing.
Well, at least she said something nice. I mean, I'll give her that. Annoying? Yes. Disrespectful? Not necessarily. Just lower the volume. You know why people love Thailand so much? Because we don't have to hear Brits and Americans screaming. Or at least so we thought. Lower the volume levels. Let's do an ASMR. Do an ASMR table challenge for all the Brits and Americans. Shh, we're eating. Maybe that'll be the way we shut these people up. ASMR dining. It's the new trend. It's the new trend, guys. Just tell them it's a trend and they will go for it. ASMR dining. Shh, 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 shh. Now, I was about to keep whispering. Now she's under fire. Now she's under fire for this. Let's look at this. She doesn't look too happy now.
I genuinely love Thailand, yeah. It's a lovely place. But why are the locals so rude and disrespectful to foreigners and tourists? Like, I've been to Turkey. Turkey was pretty bad. Even in Egypt, it's pretty bad. But I'm sorry, Thailand tops it all. The language barrier, you know what? Language barrier is very natural for humans, especially when you go to the other side of the world. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a language barrier, but just pull out Google Translate if you don't understand what I'm saying. Don't ignore me. Don't look at my face and then ignore me. Do you know how disrespectful that is? Just say no English. No English. Everyone knows what that means. Even if you don't know one word of English, I'm pretty sure you know no English.
Honestly, I speak fluent English. But I wouldn't speak a word of English if she approached me. The second this woman approaches me with an attitude like that, me no speaky English. You understand? I don't know nothing about English. I don't know French. I don't even know German. Whatever you might know, I certainly don't know anymore. Because this attitude is too much. It's too much for me. I don't want to... No wonder nobody wants to talk to you. I'm not even next to you and I got bad vibes. You give me negativity by proxy.
Don't know one word of English. I'm pretty sure you know no English. You know what that means. Please fix up your rudeness with the tourists because we will stop coming. Honestly, I love this place. The sun's shining and a lot of locals are lovely, but the majority of you are the most disrespectful people I've ever met in my life. Hands down. But I still love Thailand and I would still come here again. But pan up. Locals, seriously, fix up. And for the nice locals, you need to tell the rude locals to be nice to us. Huh? Be nice to us, foreigners and tourists. It's scary.
It's such rage bait. It's so performative. And I don't even know if I should react to it like it's serious at this point. But here's what I think happens with tourists when they come to Southeast Asia. Tourists, when they come here for some reason, above all other places, expect to be worshipped. It's not simple, for them it's not enough to have politeness. For them it's not enough to have general kindness or good service or general politeness. They want this over-the-top, cartoonish level of service to where they're being waited on every turn. And, we have the tissue before they sneeze. People come out here and want to be treated like a god. And it's so ridiculous, the level of entitlement, that anybody should be nice to you anywhere. I mean, when I'm in my hometown, people aren't, smiling and pulling out my chair. They just act kind of normal. They're doing their job. They serve me my food and I go home. Why should I expect to be treated like some sort of god? Why? Because I'm a foreigner in Thailand? Because I came with money, I'm supposed to be treated like some sort of god? But this is the complex that foreigners have when they come to these places. They want to be treated like their shit doesn't stink. And I can guarantee you it does. I can smell it. Whew. Gotta act right. Gotta earn respect. Can't demand respect. Doesn't work that way. Also, I like that in Thailand, they will just kind of even the playing field. I think pretty girls like this are used to being treated really good for nothing. And she doesn't realize, like, this is the way the rest of us are treated. I don't have people fucking smiling at me, dude. You think people are smiling at me all day? People just get me my food and tell me to eat it and get the fuck out. That's a man's daily customer service experience. A man orders something and nobody even looks at him. They just give him his shit and he eats it or drinks it and gets the fuck out. I don't get special service, bro. I just pay my bill and leave. So that's it, you guys. Covered a good amount of topics tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow from a new hotel, a new place. Figuring out what I'm going to do. I'll be in Bangkok. Well, at least tomorrow I'll be in Bangkok, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do next. I'm just trying to decide what kind of content I want to bring you guys. I have an interview story I might go do in a neighboring city to Bangkok. It would be some journalism. I have some day in the life stuff I want to do here. I want to meet with a couple folks in Bangkok before I go. So there's lots of stuff to do. Hopefully you guys like this stream. And I'm going to try to keep mixing the corruption, world news stuff with the travel stuff. I think it makes for some interesting topics. Music and entertainment when it's relevant, but music has kind of fallen off, so I have to go where it makes sense for me to go. But yeah, ultimately, this stuff has been cool. And, I think it's fascinating, too, that people try to frame it as politics. I do talk about politicians and stuff. But really what I do is I don't actually cover politics. What I do is cover mostly world news and corruption. And I find it so funny that politics and corruption are so much hand in hand that when I do stories about billionaires and big business and politicians being corrupt, it's now automatically thrown under the umbrella of politics. Like, people frame it like I do a political show. I hardly do a political show. This show is actually very apolitical. I talk about people in positions of power doing shady stuff. That's mostly what I talk about. And I find it pretty funny that people try to twist it into a political show. This is not a political stream. This is not a political show. This is a show to talk about the most important things happening in our world, the most relevant things happening in our world, and shocker, a lot of the time that involves some of the key players. A lot of the time, I hate to break it to my critics, but a lot of the time, some of the biggest news in the world might involve the President of the United States. It might involve the U.S. government. It might involve other governments. Because guess what? That's what it means to have your finger on the pulse. All the people who have tried to criticize my pivot into world events need to shut the fuck up. Because you guys don't do anything for me when I try to cater to you. You know how many years I've been doing music and entertainment exclusively and eating a bag of dicks on a lot of my videos when I post them and get 20 fucking views? You guys know how many hours I put into making interviews and entertainment stories and music reactions and music analysis that got 40 people to watch it? And then those same people who I appreciate them being there, but those same people will then have the gall to tell me, well, you should go back to doing that. You shouldn't talk about world events. We know you just did 125,000 viewers on your last stream about Trump, but we don't want that. We want you to talk about the new Black Sabbath remaster that just came out on a box set. I'm sorry, guys. I can't do that for you. If you guys want me to sit in this room and get 60, 70 views for the rest of my life, I'll do it, but we have one condition on which I'll do it. I'll do it only if you guys pay my bills. All the people who want me to just do music and just do entertainment, set up a recurring payment, pay my bills every month, and then I'll do videos that get 40 views for the rest of my career. I'll do it for you. But until that moment, do me a favor and shut the fuck up. With all due respect. It's not disrespect for my viewers. It's not disrespect for my base. I don't want to be marginalized and pigeonholed any longer. Shout out to Stan. I appreciate, and I'm sorry to all the new people. This rant may have caught you off guard. Like, what's he talking about? I've been reading a lot of comments. That's all. That's all I'm responding to. I've been reading a lot of comments. People who've been watching me for a long time. We want you to go back to your music stuff and don't talk about Trump and don't talk about this. Are you paying my bills, though? Are you helping me make a name, though? Are you helping me get on Piers Morgan and Fox News as a panelist? No. This is what will do that. So that's all I have to say. You know, I got love for all of you. We'll be back live tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Peace and love, peace and love. And we'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Peace.